我在战术上和 BP 上有一定的理解，但是我觉得这不是最重要的。我觉得最重要的是我会在比赛时劣势的时候，或者是队员心态不好的时候，帮助队员一起调整。我们队伍内部交流一般都会比较。
代表我们的国家中国出战，动力自然是非常无限的。
我觉得每个地区套路都不是最强的，但是是最适合自己的。如果是我们战术讨论上出现的争执，那仅限于比赛的时候或者是训练的时候，我们在私下里关系还是挺好的。
Well, since we're in Arizona, we've had a little bit of a scorpion problem. Myself, I've killed 6 scorpions. I have the record at the house. So
I have 1 scorpion kill. Yeah, it built a lot of synergy for us as a team to, overcome the scorpion threat. So I think it, overall taught us some life lessons and brought us closer and stronger as a whole.
The Heroes of the Storm World Championship is brought to you in part by Intel, Windows 10, T-Mobile, and MasterCard.
You're taller. Oh.
Welcome back, friends. I am very excited to go into our second match after that first one. What did you think? Some crazy drafts. I cannot wait to hear what was going through those teams' minds, but we will have to save that for later because right now it is time for game 2. And I am proud to introduce you to your blue team from North America. Who is it? I'm not sure. And in fact, I'm hearing chants of USA, and this team actually displayed quite a bit of dominance previous to the Americas Championship. Now they're here to prove that they deserved to be the first place champion and get revenge. It is Tempo Storm! Your red team is a super team. They have 2 players from one team and 3 from another coming together to represent China. They're here to defend their country's honor. It is Braveheart. Now, Tempo Storm is one of the teams that has been playing together as a team the longest in Heroes of the Storm. And of course, Braveheart has only been practicing together as this team for a very, very short period of time. Let's see how these 2 teams of very different ages think they will match up against each other.
So against Braveheart, we feel really confident going into this matchup. We've had a good bit of experience now playing the Chinese teams, and we feel really strong against their meta.
但是我们队伍因为是2个队参加组的，可能所以说配合方面可能还要欠缺一点。
They have a few different members from EDG here as well. We don't think they'll have quite as good of synergy, So us being a team that works well together, I feel like we'll have an advantage there.
一下这一场天门石洞可能是对我们一个气势上的就是增长，然后对我们后面的比赛那种都很重要的。
Going up against Braveheart, we've been practicing really hard. We've been trying new things, and when we go against them next week at BlizzCon, we'll reveal them.
我觉得让我最骄傲的时刻就是来到美国能穿上中国队的队服。坑破石洞我们会击败你们。
For obviously having our first series being very, very rapid here today, and now we move on to another elimination match between Team Tempo Storm and obviously Team Braveheart. This is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, Tempo Storm looked very, very good in their first round when they were going up against DK. Todd, that series as a whole, I think Tempo Storm really kind of put DK on the back foot, for it to be all honest with you.
I think they took a lot of people by surprise, DK included, just by showing up the way they did. They had a very strong map win, and in the end it kind of felt like they really had a strong chance to even take down their opponent, and they're going to be looking for a revenge here if they can beat their Chinese opponent in this match.
Yeah, definitely. So far, Team Tempo Storm, of course, having seen Cloud9 actually move through on into the semi-finals themselves, Team Tempo Storm here, they're going to have to feel that little bit of a spark. Obviously, with seeing their kind of countrymen going forward, Grubby, they've kind of been wanting this very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, they used to be the undisputed best team in America, but Cloud9 has taken that crown for now, winning the North American regionals. And now they're faced with a very interesting challenge here in Team Braveheart.
Yes.
We saw that actually when Team Na'Vi faced Braveheart in the first match, they didn't pull any punches. Now, it is very risky. Sometimes when a team is very confident, they might have the inclination to hide some of their strategies for what they consider to be more important matches later. You can't do that. They're on the brink of elimination, but they're also on the brink of advancing.
Yeah.
It is a very important match. Braveheart had a few weeks of practice together, and now they have another week. That is a large percentage of extra practice here. If they can come together here as a team, they could provide a really formidable challenge against Tempo Storm.
That's a good point that you actually bring up there, Grubby. When we're talking about how Braveheart have actually come into this tournament, it's not been the easiest road for them, for sure. With Tempo Storm having looked in the form that they did against DK here, do you think Braveheart can bring something to the table here, Todd, against them?
I think there's definitely a good chance here. You know, they've had time to really think through on exactly how they want to go about playing the series here against Tempo Storm. They've got to study them a little bit more. Also, I don't think there's going to be any particular jet lag issues. You know, they've been there for a while now. A lot of the conditioning here that goes into playing at this level in a tournament of this scale, I feel is really going to come into play here with them being a lot more prepared and in a better way than they were before.
Well, soon we will be getting into a draft here for game number 1 between these two teams, and I believe our first map will be Infernal Shrines between them. A very different map compared to some of the others. Obviously, there have been some tweaks, some changes here and there. 30 minions from now 40 minions, so it slows down the map a little bit more here, that's for sure. Grubby, going into a map like this, for a team like Tempo Storm, do you see them going in with some kind of advantage here, having so much wealth and experience behind them?
Well, one thing we've seen a lot on this battleground, Galaris, is that we see more heroes that go for more experience capabilities. A hero like Brightwing can join the fight very late because her version of mounting ability is actually an ability called Phase Shift. She can teleport on one of the allied heroes after staying out of combat for a while. So she could be in the top lane getting experience for the team, whereas everyone else is already being called to the objective and then come in late, giving him experience advantage.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of Tempo Storm Brightwing play here, so that's something that could come into play. Another few heroes that are really being prioritized are heroes with great wave clear. Leoric and Johanna are very popular picks on Infernal Shrines because they can win the objective for you.
Yeah, we've also seen, I mean, to your point about the Brightwing, Todd, we've seen a lot of heroes like Abathurs, etc. being incorporated into this map for kind of similar reasons.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, when we see this map coming up here between these two teams, we a lot of the time think about those minions that you need to clear in order to get the objective. And one thing we shouldn't forget is that they're going to be fighting in very closed up, tight chokes, which can affect the fight greatly. So going for some of these heroes say like for example Hammer that you can siege from afar,
yes,
is not absolutely out of the question, even though still fairly unlikely. Somebody like ETC could zone out very well, also use power slides and all these spells very efficiently. Heroes like Kerrigan, Buechter can always come into play on a map like this and do very well. So it's going to be very interesting to see which one of these, if any, either team goes for.
All right, well, guys, it seems our draft is good to go here for game number 1 between Tempo Storm and Team Braveheart. It will be on Infernal Shrines, as we mentioned before. So let's open up proceedings here for game number 1. And bang, straight out of the door, it's going to be Abathur banned for Team Tempo Storm.
Yeah, there's since the battleground code changed to have 40 skeletons, which you need to remove, in order to summon the Immortal, there has been a higher emphasis on buying time. Buying time and poking tactics while getting great advantage somewhere on the map. And Abathur has also been trending with a Vile Nest build, something that allows you to place down mines in places and slow down and damage your opponent greatly. And it makes it very difficult for the opponent to rotate to the objective in time, getting slowed down all the time along the way.
Tempo Storm, they've got some of their own favorite picks as well, which we saw come out earlier in this tournament when they played against DK. They like their Zeratul. Usually it's Zuna that's playing it, and that can greatly, I guess, affect the game with his performance. I think they brought it out twice out of 3 maps. Jaina also was picked multiple times, so I wouldn't be surprised if they always resort to these go-to picks in their first few ones here to start off strong here with the draft.
And then on the other side here, Braveheart banning out the Uther to start things off. A very, very common ban here. One of the more common, in fact, third when you consider that Abathur has been the first ban about 5 and now 6 times during the entire Heroes of the Storm World Championship. Uther coming out here as a ban, Grubby. I mean, it's just a very, very standard ban here.
Yeah, the Abathur limits the opponent's map presence. Uther limits the opponent's draft potential.
Yes.
Because once you have Uther, you can take ridiculous glass cannon heroes that have huge damage output, but very little in the way of survivability, and he will cover for them.
And already a great pick coming out of Tempo Storm here with the Sonya. So really good AoE capabilities, Todd, and just overall massive, massive burst potential.
Absolutely. Sonya as a first pick here. This is rather unusual, and they might have, I guess, a combo here they might want to go for, you know, somebody to help maybe and support Sonya now that Uther is already gone with the bans. But I think Sonya, she's going to be a very good hero to have on this map, to get in there, reach the backline and try to blow somebody up very quickly. But all alike, if there is a situation where Braveheart are defending toward their side of the map and, you know, she goes a little bit too far, she could find herself in trouble. So it's going to be very important that positioning-wise, Sonya doesn't go in too early.
Never know over to Braveheart here. They're going to pick up Jaina to start things off. A pick that fits every single mold. And then a usual pick that you would see with that is the Muradin coming out as well. So a very, very strong solo warrior potentially here for Braveheart. But overall, very, very sustainable, Grubby.
Yeah, very much so. And he's a great counter to a hero like Sonya.
Yes.
Now, looking at Tempo Storm's next picks, I feel like they have to pick up either Kael'thas or Tyrande. These are 2 ranged damage dealers. One of them is an assassin, the other is a support in Tyrande, but they both provide a lot of damage. And they're also the only 2 heroes with range that do not need to upgrade a talent at level 16 in order to get a stun. Sylvanas has the way that's actually an awesome pick, but the reason I feel like they need to do that is because Muradin paired up with those 2 heroes is too powerful when left alone.
I completely agree with you. It is quite powerful indeed. And then Sylvanas and Tyrael coming out. This is an interesting pickup indeed. With the Sylvanas that they already have the potential for the Wailing Arrow to just get silences in there, and Tyrael has seen a lot of traction as of late, Todd.
I was talking about how, you know, Sonya might need a little bit of support in this game, because otherwise Braveheart, they can just pick all the burst, all the stunners that they want to in order to be able to defend. So Tyrael here, we see all of his talents, and he's just a solid warrior all around that can engage very nicely, disengage sometimes, and he's going to have the sanctification, which is what I'm guessing here they want to go for in order to really help Sonya in the front line. They can just dive, really.
Yeah.
They can just dive hard, use it, and be safe for some time, do a lot of damage before the real fight even starts.
Yeah, one would suspect that, definitely. With Sanctification, such a powerful tool, we saw it a lot in the European meta, and ever since opening week, it's really, really transitioned on. A lot of people are really focusing on Tyrael here as a big, in essence, support pick to a certain... I mean, Sanctification, allowing your entire team to be invincible during the duration of these big clumped up fights is very powerful. And then on Braveheart's side, they're going to ban out the Tassadar here, Grubby.
Yeah, Tresor would pair up really nicely with Tempo Storm's team. If they got Tresor and another support, they would have a very survivable Sonya, so they don't want to go up against that. Tyrande now being banned out, I thought they were going to have to pick it to remove it from Murden, but actually, of course, they still had that ban available as well, so very good ban there. Now, Braveheart, if they want another stun hero with range, and they go for Kaeyoh, they have 2 mages together.
Yes.
Two mages used to be so popular.
That's true, that's true.
But it fell out of fashion.
It did. It was very kind of all-in-esque, and those 2 heroes, a Jaina and a Kaeyoh, don't quite have the true escapes before or defensive capabilities before level 13 and really getting going, but they're going to go for it anyway. This is a very, very cool pickup here by Braveheart. Overall, they have a fantastic damage potential, and Karazim is going to be there to try and save them here, Todd.
Yeah, the double mage here against Tempo Storm's composition, I totally can picture already, you know, Sonya jumping in TRL as well, using the sanctification, and the wedding arrow coming into play. It looks really tricky for them to be able to properly pull this off. Spreading out very well is going to be very important, and the battle for the shrines is going to be very tricky for them to set up properly.
On Tempo Storm's side here, Grubby, do you even mind something like a Brightwing as a support for like the later on kind of shield dust talents available against something like a very heavy spell composition?
That would be a pretty defensive choice. I'm not sure they could do that. What they want here is to hard engage, looks like. Sonya, Wailing Arrow, Tyrael, they all provide a really hard engage, and that's how you want to go up against these ranged mages, these ranged assassins like Kaeyoh and Jaina. So I was thinking to see something a bit more aggressive, but yeah, she has that magic dust to prevent some of that magic damage.
And then Valor coming in here as a base stable tempo kind of just damage dealer here for Tempo Storm, Todd. So a lot of extra damage being churned into this mix.
Yeah, Tempo Storm, they most certainly are going to have enough damage here already with this composition. I'm feeling, you know, Rhaegar and Malfear behind them. Actually, it's pretty much the same personally. Like they would do very well, and they go for the Malfurion.
So they're kind of a sustained comp here with the shields, with healing over time. Sonya can take care of herself. Sylvanas and Vala try to stay out of action, basically, because Braveheart doesn't really have deep divers. Kaeyoh and Jaina are going to pretty much shoot from the backline. We might see a flank here on Jaina, but that would leave her into a danger zone.
And usually here's what you want to have happen with this composition. You go forward, you start engaging here as Tempo Storm. You take a little bit of damage, boom, sanctification plus tranquility. Everybody's back up to 40 points. The opponents have already popped their heroic, you win the fight, game over.
Oh, and finally Braveheart going to round things out with Arthas, the Lich King himself, to try and keep those 2 mages alive. Arthas and Jaina, they've had relations in the past, just ignore that for a moment. And overall, having this as their composition, they needed this to try and get away from this potential dive experience that they could be facing here, Grubby.
Yeah, I mean, Arthas is very survivable. He does a lot of damage. He's a little bit less survivable if he goes too far forward, but it's his job to defend the backline, so it's a very good pick.
Yes, yes it is. I mean, Todd, looking at this, how do you kind of weigh up these 2 teams?
I think it's going to come down to execution, basically, because it's very hard to properly pull off Sanctification and Tranquility together to sync it as well as you need to, and all alike on the other side of things. Jaina with the Ring of Frost here could be very dangerous, but again, if she uses it a little bit too early and then Sanctification and Tranquility are in sync, Braveheart, they're gonna get wrecked in some of these fights.
Oh, thank you very much, Todd. We'll be checking in with you later. For now, join us on Twitter with the @eSports Heroes, as well as the hashtag HeroesWC, and tell us who you think is going to be winning here with the hashtag of your favorite team. Will it be Tempo Storm or will it be Braveheart, keeping themselves alive here in the World Championship? For now, we are getting into game number 1 here in this best of 3 between Tempo Storm to the left-hand side here with our hero Arthelon going to be playing Sylvanas. Dreadnaught on Malfurion, Kaeyoh is going to be on Valor, Soldier will be on Tyrael, and finally Zuna is going to be playing Sonya. Then to the right hand side we have Team Braveheart with Bao going to be playing on Jaina, Exia will be on Kaeyoh, Gemini will be on Karazim, Kaeyoh will be on Arthas, and finally M is going to be running the Muradin.
Now we've got the immediate split here from Team Tempo Storm, doing the 1-1-3 that they're both known for, which they love, pairing 2 of their ranged pushers and damage dealers together with a support and trying to put pressure early on, and of course, which better hero than Sylvanas? Note what they're doing here, by the way. They're slowing down the minion wave. It is a small effect, but it's ever so noticeable. This will cause the minion waves to clash slightly closer to Tempo Storm's side, which makes them both more safe and the opponent potentially more overextended.
And an interesting lane to do it in overall. Actually, the bottom lane of all lanes instead of the middle one where you would normally see that kind of fighting. So they're really trying to stall out the bottom lane, but then in essence, eventually, this will give them a good position here for Sylvanas to try and start pushing this lane very aggressively. Now, Grubby, looking at the level 1 talent here of Sonya, we've been seeing this a little bit more, healing and sustainability here for them.
Oh, that's on Howling Blasting, grabbed with the storm ball. First blood goes to Team Braveheart.
That shot caught me off guard. That was very, very quick, especially against the Sylvanas with Haunting Wave that does have the ability to escape.
Tyrael in the mid lane using Eldrin's Might to pop away. Soldier there playing it safe. But to get back to your question, Warpaint, it is part of an auto attack build. She will pick up focus attack and follow through probably at level 4 and 7 respectively with the potential sidestep to Ferocious Healing.
Yes.
And the really cool thing about it, she becomes very survivable. She can keep herself up with the help of Tyrael's shields and Malfurion's healing as well. The alternative choice is often Shots of Fury, which is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit less survivable. So you can see very clearly that Tempo Storm wants to play a long, sustained fight.
Yep, and that's what you're going to have to do here on a map like Infernal Shrines, especially if you do fall behind a little bit earlier on. They have given up first blood to their opponents here in Braveheart, and Braveheart here has to gain a little bit of a mental edge, a bit of mental momentum against Tempo Storm. They're going up against a team that is very, very fearsome, whereas they don't quite have the wealth of experience together as they would do normally. So getting that first blood here for Braveheart, I think, is a great little step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's very important for them, and it must feel really good here in their opening match of the BlizzCon proper. Murden here taking a lot of damage here from the Tempo Storms.
Oh, and already forced down on towards Sonya. Zuna's going to end up going down. That's another kill going over to Braveheart here, despite that being the Tempo Storm engage. And this is going to open up the shrine a little bit for Braveheart, but still there is the potential that we could see them actually moving up here and trying to struggle soft some of these minions.
Now, I think this is not a reason for concern for Tempo Storm, but they do need to be a little bit careful. I think they don't have a stronger level 1 to 9 composition here. That one probably goes to Braveheart. So if they can manage to stabilize a little bit and not throw too many eggs in their early game basket, so to speak, Tempo Storm would be just fine. I think their power spike is at level 10 when they get Sanctification, Wrath of the Berserker. As of right now, Zuna on the Sonya needs to be very careful because he's not as powerful yet. Full crowd control effects take into effect, and there we go with the Gravity Lapse.
Another push on towards Sonya there, but at the same time, Murden's going to pay for it with his life. He ends up falling. That is going to be the first kill going over to Tempo Storm. As we have Kaeyoh going to be moving through here with Arthur, taking a lot of damage himself, though the Roots will be able to lock him down for a moment. Likewise, Jaden on the threat. Arthur, great ancient spear. Jaden follows the Alpine. Another death here going over to Tempo Storm, and that turns around the shrine for them, and it's a frozen Punisher. So this is going to be a great pushing tool here for them in the top lane.
Tempo Storm really redeemed themselves there, even in the early game. Zuna there with the composite spear, taking the last hit on Arthas and getting actually the advantage here in takedowns. 3 versus 2. Experience lead goes to Tempo Storm, and the frozen Punisher jumps into the fort on Exia.
Another still good bait there out of them to just get it away from the team so that they can try and bring it down away from the power of Tempo Storm as a whole. That's the one advantage you have as the defender going up against this. The Punisher will prioritize jumping on towards heroes as opposed to other kind of pushing mechanics in the game that do potentially, you know, prioritize the building damage.
Yeah, he's not very emotionally stable, is he, the Immortal?
No.
At the first poke, he jumps in. Arthelon!
Oh, he ends up falling as well. Another kill onto Sylvanas, a little bit uncharacteristic of the character as a whole, because again, Haunting Wave is a great escape mechanic, but Braveheart is syncing up their stuns really well to counteract that kind of play.
Yeah, and also you've got to have a very good map awareness here. You keep having to look at the minimap. Where is everyone? If you don't see them, they could be coming for you. You don't want to take that paranoia too far, but if you're by yourself pushing the lane, that is very risky, potentially.
We're seeing Sonya going for that kind of more sustained build that you were mentioning, those 2 options and 2 paths that she does have. And on the other side, if we look at Tyrael's talents as well, a relatively tanky Tyrael build with Regeneration Master as well as Amplified Healing, and obviously having that battle momentum in there just to give extra shields during the fight and just be a little bit of a nuisance at the front. Soldier on Tyrael is a very formidable opponent.
Wow, we've got Team Tempo Storm here pushing as 5. Now we've got Braveheart closing in on them. Kaeyoh dodging the Howling Blast.
It was a nice attempt at the flank there, and if they'd have got someone with the Howling Blast, that could have really spiraled out of control, but Tempo Storm knew when to disengage.
I've got a big camp pushing at the top here. It looks like Team Braveheart is going to be making use of that. Tyrio has to be careful. Soldier there almost running into Jaina and Arthas, a very lethal combination. But they play it really safely and are going to go defend the camp here. Still summoning Fallen Hounds there. But they will be taking care of it now. Nicely dealt with by Tempo Storm.
Get rid of that Shaman, that's for sure. Nobody likes the Shaman in that group. He's a nuisance. But the Shrine now opening means that both of these are going to have to wrestle against one another. The slight experience lead that Braveheart has right now will give them a few of the extra minions at the start if there was a potential of them trying to wrestle against it and slow it down towards a level 10. And as you can see, the teams are dispersed across the lanes here. They know that level 10 is so important despite that Shrine being activated.
Yeah, even a 5-second advantage for the opponent having level 10 could be lethal here. So very smart decision by Tempo Storm here to push the towers. They actually get level 10 first, and that's their mark to converge on the middle and say the rest of the skeletons are ours.
You've got to be careful here now, Braveheart. Very, very careful. You don't have level 10 just now.
Level 10 apiece.
They do have a little bit of damage done towards them so far. Arthelon going in pretty thick towards things. Zuna on the right-hand side, trying to zone out some of their members, gathering up some of these minions. They were a little bit behind, as you can see to the bottom right-hand corner. 30-40 against 15-40. They need to gain some of these kills. But look at Braveheart doing this very, very cleverly. They know they only need a few. They're just playing it slowly on the edge.
Yeah, we've got 15 needed for Tempo Storm. Only 7 for Braveheart.
Oh, Wailing Arrow went through there. Straight on to Jaina. She's going to take a lot of damage here. With that sanctification, it was taking up a lot of damage there for Tempo Storm. And then Kaeyoh around there. On towards Tyrio. Big AoE damage being done. Arthas ends up falling as well. But overall, that Divine Path did a lot of work. And they're going to be able to disengage. Tempo Storm is going to come out victorious here as long as they're able to get a few more kills. They need just one more minion.
Skeleton against 3. It was Kaeyoh solo. Exia stealing the cheese off the bread off Tempo Storm. Incredible.
Unbelievable stuff. Really, really good play here by Braveheart to salvage that situation, knowing they only needed one. Now you can see Soldier was trying to bait the Punisher across the wall. Didn't get the opportunity there, though. It will jump forward. The Arcane Punisher, though, does a lot of damage with its beams. You've got to be careful.
Oh, Dreadnaught gone by himself. Very smart rotation by Braveheart, and they will get a kill for their efforts.
Very, very well done to just find these here and there. But overall, that was a crazy, crazy fight in the mid to just get it by 1 at the very end. And in essence, they kind of had to get. Tempo Storm did have a better position after those 2 kills that they got on towards Arthas, etc. later on in that fight. So that was crucial by Braveheart to salvage the situation.
Yeah, very nice Divine Palm there by Gemini on Jaina, managing to save her and turn that around just into a 1 warrior down apiece. And now, in one of the most close games so far in BlizzCon opening week and today in general, we've got a 12 versus 12 situation.
Looking for more. The haunting way forwards. Sylvanas feels confident, and he will bring down Muradin here. Going down. That's a 2-for-0 trade here for Tempo Storm.
Fantastic takedown. Arthelon hungry for blood in hot pursuit with his buddies, and now, thanks to the Black Arrow, Sylvanas able to freely push the top without taking any damage whatsoever. And very smart move by Braveheart, actually. Even though they have a hero down, 2 heroes down, they still continue to push. They know the enemy's forces are concentrated at the top, and they can actually trade evenly here. So they're going to get a fort at the bottom as well.
Not too bad, not too bad. This Kazu camp still pushing through the middle, so causing a few problems. Karazim doesn't have the opportunity to really clean those up very fast, so needs a little bit of extra support to help him out actually cleaning that up. But this is a great steal here by Tempo Storm, being able to switch the momentum over, not only taking that fort up towards the top, but also taking their opponent's hard camp, which is also a nuisance on this map.
Yes, exactly. Taking that Fallen Shaman provides so much pressure on the opponent because it will keep summoning doggies and it will keep pushing it. It's very difficult to die to normal lane presence. So
lines up even better as well with the fact that the Shrine has come activated. Jaina has been away from this fight for a while. They've got themselves 20 out of 40 minions towards this Mortar Punisher. So overall, right now, Tempo Storm has really, really found their flow in this game.
Oh, they guessed it. They guessed it. Kaeyoh almost gets taken down. Muradin in hot pursuit.
Kaeyoh still looking to try and get out of there. Going down. Sanctification's already been used as well. The turnaround here from Tempo Storm, despite Holiday going down, they can dedicate a lot of power towards that 1 kill. And and the turnaround there on towards Arcus was strong.
And then all but secures the Immortal here for Team Tempo Storm. Very nice flank. They got the Immortal.
Very good stuff here by Tempo Storm. Still, look at the experience. 14 against 14, dead even. 7 kills against 6. This Mortar Punisher here can do big work, can soften up these buildings, probably bring down this entire fort and march on a little bit further. So structurally, Tempo Storm is doing well.
And now we can see why Tempo Storm loves Sylvana so much. 0 damage on this Mortar Punisher, even though there was a free 4th kill no matter what, but it would have taken more damage already. Now they can continue to ride onto the next keep. Taking down those 2 towers, 650 XP both. They're going to get really close to level 16.
Being across the wall here at the moment, that's a good move here by Braveheart, but at the same time you've seen Tempo Storm trying to rip down that wall, getting towards that Punisher and looking for the fight here. They know that they have an actual natural advantage with fighting under this Punisher, and also it's not taking damage from the fort. It's still locked down here. You can see this keep even, I should say, being locked down and taking those little bits of extra damage.
Okay, we've got the trap potential here for Team Tempo Storm as we might see Braveheart here scurrying to get back onto the map. Very close to level 16, and that would be a great moment to fight for Tempo Storm. So are they going to set a trap, or are they going to say we're going to ride this advantage we have into the middle game more safely?
I would love to see them try and take a fight right now. They've got themselves holy ground on Tyrael, something that is extremely powerful, hardened focus. The difference between having hardened focus and not is night and day, as long as Malfurion is keeping himself in the back lines, being able to churn out those heals at such rapid speed.
So Sonya going with Stone Skin here. We've got Vala with the Blood for Blood, not going for the sometimes taken Stone Skin. Feels very safe here, wants to go full aggression. Look for Arthelon to do more flanks there on the Vala, but it was a very nice anticipation for Braveheart last fight.
And out of all members of Tempo Storm, Zuna playing the Sonya here, he epitomizes aggression. He is one of the most aggressive tools that Tempo Storm has available. So with Mystical Spear as well, he can get in a really good spot. This is an interesting flank coming out here though by Braveheart, and they're already looking to focus on towards Sonya. Arthelon was forced back. That Sancta has been able to turn things around. This could be the opportunity to get back. That is a 1-0 already here for Tempo Storm, and the sustain is very, very strong here for them as well, as Malfurion still in with so much health is being able to compound that healing so much.
Kaeyoh too far forward there and was unable to get Divine Palm there by Gemini on time. They're trying to do some damage against Soldier here, but they just don't have the damage without Kaeyoh.
No, I don't think so either. They could still look for more if they wanted, but it looks like Tempo Storm is now going to back off a little bit more, knowing that that shrine has been activated up towards the top, steal this easy camp, then rotate around here. Still the flow for Tempo Storm is hitting the mark perfectly.
Yeah, they are just playing in almost perfect synergy. After struggling a little bit in the early game, they've taken full control of the map, and that's when they shine the best. That's when any team shines the best, of course, but especially Tempo Storm relies very heavily on a good momentum, and they're really hitting their stride here in their first game today.
Tempo Storm, very much so the fan favorite out there. A lot of people behind Tempo Storm, 84% in favor of Tempo Storm in this series. A lot of people want to see them survive on and go through to the semi-finals. It's not over yet by any means, though, in this series, as Braveheart at the moment positioning themselves and posturing themselves, knowing that they need to do it. But Wrath of the Berserker has been activated, and with the amount of fighting that goes on around these shrines, it's going to be there for a long, long time.
Look for Bao here on the Jaina, coming from behind. There she goes. No, hasn't revealed herself yet. It's a 4 versus 5. Where's your Jaina? The Tempo Storm must be wondering.
Exactly. Kaeyoh is going to be one of the big targets there for him, but at the same time, obviously, still quite mobile himself. There goes the Water Elemental. Kaeyoh is going to be trying to push down there. There goes the strafe. The extra damage going to be coming out. Holy Ground used to deny Braveheart from actually pushing forward. Likewise, we've also seen a Wailing Arrow being used. Dread is under a little bit of threat there from the bombs coming out, but at the same time, Ed here on the Muradin is fighting up against Sonya. Sonya's got to be careful, though, whilst going for that. There's no extra damage coming out from Braveheart on the back, though, so a very slow fight in the end.
Yeah, if we look at Braveheart, they still have Divine Palm, and Tyrael still has Sanctification. We've got Wrath of the Berserker up again for Zuna, so a lot of heroics being used. No one going down yet. Muradin, very low on the mana.
Soldier going in quite far there. There's Kaeyoh, though. He went very, very far, but at the same time, that Divine Palm is not going to pop. They're not going to he catches it at the very end of that Divine Palm's duration. Perfect execution there by Tempo Storm.
Wow, wonderfully done. Really hitting the mark there against that focus target. Excellent movement here by Kaeyoh as well. Time upon time again, showing himself on Vala at the front line and then getting out as the opponent overextends. We saw a beautiful move by Braveheart, disengaging from that fight as Tranquility was popped. But they managed to get back in there, and they thought, yes, we have a chance to take this. But Tempo Storm took down Arthas in a beautiful synergy. And look at this. They're deliberately buying time for the Punisher not to be summoned yet, because they want to capture the bottom camp first. Once you capture the Punisher, all camps on the map disappear. So they wanted to get this one to provide a counterpoint pressure at the bottom of the map. They've got one on the middle, one on the bottom, and the Immortal is going to be at the top. But they're not capturing it yet. Are they trying to sucker Braveheart into another fight there?
Perhaps. I mean, they do have the level advantage at the moment that will give them statistical advantage. And also, I think that they probably feel their team fight in general right now is quite strong. They've kind of felt Braveheart out during the entirety of this. So they don't need to really capture it just yet. They only need one more minion, and we saw how, well, relatively easy that was earlier on from Braveheart. They're just going to now walk in, baiting them into the position, and they're going to focus on Muradin here quite strongly. Zuna using Mystical Spirit to get out with. We're already seeing Alphas trying to put a pressure towards Vala. Very, very precarious position here. Walks into the engagement. Very important to keep alive. Ah, there's the palm again, but they're not going to pop it. Oh, yeah, Vala during all of that. They're going to trade it off for Arthas, and also Kerosene ends up going down as well here. Zuna still in the front. That's big AoE damage from Kaeyoh. That's explosive damage coming out there, and that is going to mean Braveheart gets the better end of a fight, but the Arcane Punisher is pushing.
It's a 2 versus 3. Arthelon is in hot pursuit, 1 versus 3, because he wants to buy time. He wants to prevent the opponent from being able to defend against this, but he has played with his life.
That is going to be another kill going over to Braveheart. Good stuff, 4-2 in the end, but still, these lanes are pushing. Even towards the middle, you can see Tyrael there, getting himself a fort with the camp, making the best of the situation, considering his entire team is dead.
Yeah. This was very advanced tactics by Tempo Storm. They wanted to put an attractive lure out, saying to Braveheart, you can still get this Punisher. We're going to give it to you. And then try to get a good position, but I don't think it worked out exactly for them.
Slight backfiring. But
I mean, they got the bottom keep with the camp that was pushing, they got a fort, but now we've suddenly got level 20 versus 20.
Yeah, as a whole, slight backfiring in the trade-off of the fight, but as if you look at the entire state of the map,
they're winning the map.
Yes, I think it overall, it worked. I mean, they got the structural damage that they wanted to, and now they're still level 20. Well, now against level 20 coming in here, but I still think Tempo Storm does have confidence in their team fights.
Oh, sure, it has been going very well, even when they're on even talent tiers, and they're also winning the map. But we have to put a little side note here. Team Braveheart is level 20 versus 20. Death timers, 65 seconds. A successful team fight for Braveheart could spell the end for Tempo Storm, even as they are having such a big advantage.
And this is interesting.
Which is why they're not fighting.
Let's just chill, guys. Let's just chill.
Oh!
Are you over there? No?
There's nobody there. I thought I heard something.
Yeah, someone knocked on the door. Anyway. Oh well, Braveheart's going to disperse whilst Tempo Storm here, now moving through the middle, and they still have strong map control. You can see already, having themselves the fort wall alone is very, very powerful here for Tempo Storm once the shrines come up. At the moment, Braveheart doesn't really have much map control, and Tempo Storm's going to delay this out for when the shrine pops here, or even sync it up with this one. With the shrine coming up to the bottom, it's not as powerful, but it still does hold weight.
Yeah, you would wish that it would potentially be the top or the middle at least. It's going to be in the worst place, but still, they've got 2 camps pushing during this. Very nice strategical play once again by Team Tempo Storm, holding ground there, sectioning off the Arthas.
And at the same time here, Soldier still putting on some pressure towards him. Zuna all to the top with a lot of pressure on him as he moves away for just a moment. Not big trades going down just there. Both teams respecting one another enough, but at the same time, this only ever benefits Tempo Storm because mid lane and bottom lane was pushing with those easy camps.
Yes, very true. They are still winning the map. Tempo Storm is proving to be such a strategical mastermind. One more point here is that we've got 4 heroics up for Tempo Storm, whereas Phoenix, Water Elemental, Army of the Dead, and Iron Skin on Arthas have all gone down.
Here comes the flank, looking for some extra press. That was almost a really good kill there. You could see the range on it. Very, very calculated there by Braveheart. A great attempt, but it wasn't successful in the end. Muradin's going to end up dwarf tossing away, getting himself out of the theatre of conflict. Still 15 kills and 21 kills actually coming down. Still looking on towards Arthelon, but he's not going to fall.
Arthas doesn't have Hardened Shield anymore. He's taking a lot of damage.
Big damage coming out from Kaeyoh. Lots of chain bombs going down. Sacrification is going to be positive. Divine Cross triggers onto all the Arthas, and he's still in the thick of things. He's probably going to fall, and yes, he will. That's going to be a killer here for Tempo Storm, looking for more as they power on here towards Muradin, who is quite low, but he's still healing up quite considerably.
Yeah, using that trait there, using the stone skin to heal up to 50% extra again, pops out of Avatar, looks to be full life actually.
And that's all they needed though to Tempo Storm. They've got themselves 37 minions. They've been delaying this out a lot. For zero trade, looking to blow up towards Arthelon. Oh, the child! They ends up going down, but they still get themselves the Mortar Punisher, and that will push for them, despite that 1-for-1 trade overall.
During all of this, we've had the camps pushing the bottom lane, pushing the mid lane, and now the Immortal Punisher has been summoned as well for Team Tempo Storm.
Brilliant delay tactic there, by the way, down towards the bottom here for Braveheart. Just the dart on in to try and bait out the jump from the Punisher to slow his progression. You have to slow his progression here in the bottom lane, especially when you've got no keep.
Yeah, you want to abuse that AI as much as possible, and particularly when it is okay, under controlled circumstances, not when the opponent is making an aggressive foray into your territory.
No, not at all, as Tempo Storm here looking to make an encouragement on towards here, and with Braveheart's forts and keeps, and this Mortar Punisher still going hell for leather on towards some of these buildings, whilst we see Tempo Storm taking away camp after camp, going over to the easy. Won't be surprised if they try to rotate around to the hard, despite having only one of their members missing. It's going to be a little bit ambitious, and that was interesting.
All right, 10 seconds until this camp is spawning here, the siege camp. They're going to go to the top. 10 seconds on this one as well. Bruiser camp with the Fallen Shaman and the dogs. We've got on the right side Team Braveheart capturing their own camp, just finding something to do, busyness therapy, as they get this one. 2 keep still against 5 forts, Kalaris.
Yeah, these hard camps will equalize themselves out towards the top with those little doggies being resurrected over and over unless someone cleans them up. Now Braveheart setting themselves up, knowing that there was the potential that they could have been moving towards that location.
Yeah, what if it was like 1 or 2 guys that said, I'll take the scenic route, would be the last decision he would make for 65 seconds.
Exactly, after having that hard camp, be the flag to tell them where exactly they were after being captured. And now they're a little bit worried as to where they are. They haven't seen Tempo Storm for a while of Braveheart, whereas Tempo Storm knows exactly where Braveheart are thanks to the minion vision.
All right, now we have Braveheart also knowing where Tempo Storm is. They just captured that camp. We've got 2 camps pushing for Tempo Storm, 1 for Braveheart. That's where Tempo Storm might be going here. Go defend the top fort. Is giving them the buffer just in case there's a top Punisher being summoned by Braveheart to not go immediately for the key.
Overall, slowing down of the pace here by Tempo Storm. They could have continued on the aggression if they wanted, but they're really respecting the power that Jaina Kaeyoh has in these later stages of the game. You can see how much damage Kaeyoh is able to pump out with that chain bomb, etc.
Oh, a trap! Tempo Storm is setting up a trap. They're not going to be where they are expected to be. Oh, Arthelon was spotted.
Verdin going quite far forward there. That's a lot of damage.
Hardened shield down.
That's the route as well, but it's not going to be enough at all. Not with that hardened shield, easily able to soak up anything.
Still, that's a 60-second cooldown. Another 50 seconds. Murden doesn't have hardened shield. That's a pretty big win. But he's not exactly an attractive target yet. We've still got Avatar. We've still got 3rd win. So you don't want to focus Murden, but it's a big bonus that that's down for now.
And this is going to be a frozen Punisher. So as this goes on for a little bit further, more minions are going to go over to Tempo Storm. They found themselves in a good position, but look at the respect once again here, just backing off, knowing that Braveheart is going to be moving into this location. Soldier ventures quite far forwards there. Oh, it takes a lot of damage. They're going to look to blow him up instantaneously, but Malfurion is able to save him. Ooh, that was a close one for Soldier.
Hardened shield down on Soldier. Phoenix down as well. It's going to be coming back in 30 seconds versus 50 seconds on Tyrion's hardened shield. He's got to be a little bit more careful here. Zuna going in by himself. Still has hardened shield, so he feels pretty safe.
Yeah, very aggressive move out of the Zuna on that moment. As we will see here, still Muradin moving forward. That's a quarter forward. That's a Malfurion. That's a brilliant pickup here for Braveheart already. No healing potential coming out here from Tempo Storm. They're going to have to back off. They're probably going to have to give up this entire Punisher without Malfurion to be able to sustain them.
The eagle eye here by Braveheart's M on the Muradin, jumping in there, taking down Malfurion in a full 100% to 0% destruction of Malfurion, who has Bolt of the Storm, who had it off of cooldown, but was not able to do that on time. Now here, we've got a push coming into the middle keep. They can get that. How long are they going to stay? We've got the Hearthstone back already.
Just go, just leave. That was a great move out of Tempo Storm, really making the most of what they could get despite not having a healer. They knew they were never going to win the fight up towards the top, so they tried to go for extra damage, knowing that Braveheart was eager to try and scramble and leave everyone there, try and get all the damage out onto the minions. So in the end, in essence, the greed kind of stumbles them a little bit.
Yeah, really smart play by Tempo Storm. I mean, what would it take for Braveheart to say, okay, we've killed one guy, we're still fighting over the objective, let's randomly have 4 people Hearthstone back? It's quite rare.
Much, yes.
What if they were hiding somewhere? So it was a very smart consideration of the risk-reward by Tempo Storm, taking down a keep. This Punisher may not even get a keep. So even though Braveheart got the objective, got the kill, I feel like they've been robbed. And Tempo Storm running away with that prize in the night, grinning maniacally.
It seems that way. I mean, this Punisher is going to evaporate. There's not much that they can do to kind of aid it with the fact that the fort wall still exists. They are rotating around now to try and get some pick-offs here and there if they can after trying to clean up that easy camp towards the middle. But it's Tyrael. He can Eldruin's Might away from there.
Stormbolt hits, Eldruin's Might away.
We'll see this Punisher now pushing once again with the team. So Braveheart, this is a fantastic Punisher later on in this kind of game. It's very, very powerful. Already jumping on towards Valor there. She did fall away, so keeping herself quite alive. And okay, that's a brilliant route, but no way to follow up.
They got 80% of the HP off of the Punisher, of that frozen Punisher, and it was still scary.
Yes.
They still had to play very carefully as they took down the last damage. Got a minion push here, catapults pushing into the Braveheart's core.
What a great way to start this series.
Yeah.
Tempo Storm really putting on good pressure early on, but Braveheart has come back a little bit. They are trying to mount some kind of comeback here, and that is certainly not over just yet. Taking the hard camp, applying more pressure to the top lane here, whereas the potential is that the Shrines could come more activated towards the bottom after having that one at the top just activated.
Yeah, we see such a wonderful performance coming out here from China. First Team YL with that indomitable performance, taking a 2-0 victory. And now Team Braveheart, who they have players which is an amalgamation of some of the best warriors and support players in China and assassins, all coming together with short practice time. And here they are challenging what has for a long time been the world's best Heroes of the Storm team in Tempo Storm. They're going toe-and-toe. They're now 80% ahead in terms of going to the next level. And this is such a close game. In there with the trap!
Already on towards Sonya there. She just popped a lot of her cooldown to make sure she wasn't going to die off in that moment. Mystical Spear forwards, but no follow-up, no chase down. They were really ideally looking for a squishy to walk in on there, but, you know, Tempo Storm, too clever for that. Let those warriors lead.
Yeah. And we've got Wrath of the Berserker down for Sonya, and she can refresh it by getting hit, which kind of hurts, but she can also hit, and it all refreshes her Wrath of the Berserker. But by now it's down already, and she's still got 15 seconds where she doesn't have it. So Zuna there, playing on that Sonya, has to be a little bit careful for the next 10 seconds.
Shrine now is where everything is going to be decided.
Second. Dread, he's had Bolt, he uses it immediately.
Very, very important, but it still is being chased down. That's a great route to start things off, of course, though, with the fact that he has Relentless Hit. He doesn't lock him down for too much longer. Zuna's going to come in for the save. Tyrael actually do Eldruin's Might backwards, knowing that he doesn't want to go too far forwards against this comp. Again, big respect coming out from Tempo Storm. You can see it in the fact that they are taking these fights so slowly.
Yeah, I mean, everything rests upon the next fight. If it's a 5 versus 0, that's the end of the game. I don't care how many forts you have up.
Yeah. And that's a good multi-shot, already doing quite a bit of damage there on towards the entire lineup of Braveheart as we see M just moving away from the top of this position towards Zuna and trying to find a good location to get themselves some minions as well as do some damage, trying to seal him in there with that holy ground. Wasn't enough. Dwarf Toss is enough to get Murder now.
Nice move. Kaeyoh has been just playing phenomenally, always expecting where the opponent is trying to set up a flank, going with the Hungering Arrow there and anticipating that.
Will be going too far. Already know, they do know Zuna is down towards there. He just popped Wrath of the Berserker, so that'll be active for quite a while. That's a good grapple left towards Soldier. Still more Soldier. He has to pull sacrification just for himself there to actually keep himself alive. That's not the best position here. This could be a follow-up from Braveheart to try and do some damage now, knowing that that is down. Straight is used on towards the left-hand side. It's not doing damage. Oh, look at that move from Brad to try and come on towards the Valor. Nice spot from Pops as well. He knows something to do. All the way there, and carries towards the top. A brilliant kill.
Tempo Storm playing insane here. They're playing a game of checkers here, popping left and right with the bolt.
And Soldier still under a lot of pressure here. Braveheart not done just yet. They get themselves to Sonya. That's a 1-for-2 trade at the moment.
It's good for the core,
but they got the core.
the core. All Tempo Storm needed to do was stall for time. Even if they lost the fight, one guy could have finished it off, but they actually won the fight and went for the core as well, and it even blindsided us.
Yes, it did. All of this fighting constantly. And you can see, I mean, for the last 5 or 6 minutes in that game, you saw that Tempo Storm, yes, they had some structural advantage, and yes, they were constantly delaying those fights. And that's the result of it. That's what happens. You can have the core just die as easy as that whilst all those fights are going on, because Braveheart's lanes just weren't strong enough at all. Todd, you join us once again here. Thank you very much. That was a brilliant starting game. Are there any particular moments that really stood out to you?
Oh, there's quite a few. This game was crazy. Tempo Storm, they were doing a little bit better in the first few fights, but it's really from the mid-game that we saw a back and forth, I guess, action between these two teams. So let's immediately jump into our Windows 10 game DVR replay here so I can point at you a few moments that I thought were really cool here. So we're level 22 against 22 here, and over here at the top of the map, Malfurion died and wasn't able to really do much. So right now, Tempo Storm, they just head across the map. They say, well, we've already lost one, we're not gonna fight 4 on 5. They just head across the map, and they're gonna be sniping a keep. That's gonna be the second keep that they get. From that, they're gonna be getting some great pushing power in the mid and bottom lane, and they're gonna be setting themselves up for the next fight and for the next stage in the game beautifully. Now comes that very important fight here. Equal level, we see that was Sylvanas? Vala, sorry. Yes. Over there getting caught and barely blinking in an instant and just getting in range to get healed before essentially dying here as she was almost about to. And then that fight gets turned around. We have Jaina going down very quickly, and everybody was spilling for one another. Malfurion did a very good job of keeping everybody alive, and in the end, that's after a big fight win like that, you can almost always end a game by killing the core. So that was a pretty cool game here that we just saw from these two teams. But Tempo Storm, overall in most of these big fights, as long as they stand together and they know what they have to do, unless they get really thrown off out of position, it feels like they just don't lose these important fights.
I mean, overall, I think very rarely did Divine Palm actually pop at all during that game because of the communication and coordination that we're seeing here from Tempo Storm. So very cool stuff here to start this best of 3 as Tempo Storm takes a 1-0 lead. Before we get into game number 2, though, let's hear from Tempo Storm what they think about the one of the most important members of their team.
I think Dreadnaught, as our captain, does a really good job of making sure that we don't make excuses for when we are, falling short or having problems within the team. If there's like underlying problems or something that really needs to be confronted, he's usually the person who brings it up. So it's more of an out-of-game thing, but it really does help make us a lot stronger as a team.
A lot of being the team captain just comes down to trying to make sure relationships are doing well, your team is working hard, keeping their heads forward where we need to go, and just putting in the effort that we need.
I think Dreadnaught's biggest strength is his voice and giving direction throughout the entire game. You always need someone that has that voice so everyone's on the same page, and it helps everyone else stay focused on the game.
There's a lot of times that I've been a bad guy. I don't think you can be a leader and be viewed as the good guy most of the time. It's just something that you get with that kind of responsibility. It's inevitable.
The Nexus is a realm of endless conflict. A crucible for heroes ripped from countless worlds. In this new battleground, fate will decide their allies and their enemies. Now, they face a greater trial. Here, anything can happen. Heroes, prepare yourselves! The ultimate challenge is upon you. For soon, you will enter the arena!
Terran Marines are the toughest frag magnets in the galaxy. But when they're in trouble, guess who they call? Winning a battle is more than just shooting enemy soldiers. It's about saving your own. I protect every member of my squad with my life. Sometimes I think I'm the only thing holding them together. Who am I? I'm Lieutenant Morales. I'm your medic. I'm gonna need a lot of bandages.
非常想去很多地方玩，就是很想去好莱坞那边，还有自己也比较喜欢 NBA 的一些球星，正好又是洛杉矶湖人的地盘。
每一个电竞选手都有一个冠军梦，而我们如今，我们肯定会尽最大的努力，从而我们如能拿到这个冠军，我们肯定会去湖人队的赛场，更看一下我的偶像科比。
All right, welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm World Championship here for game number 2 between Tempo Storm and Braveheart. And needless to say, what a game number 1 that was. Overall, really back and forth between the two teams here, guys. Are we expecting the same coming out of game 2? Has Braveheart impressed you enough, Todd, here?
Definitely. Going into this series, I was personally heavily favoring Tempo Storm. And, you know, as much as they won map number 1 and they had a few good moments, I really think that Braveheart, they did shine a lot more than I was expecting them to so far in map number 1.
Likewise, on the other side, of course, Tempo Storm here, Grubby, having watched them throughout that entire game, having been able to catch that entire game and see how patient they were at the very end of that. Were you expecting that kind of patience to come out from them?
I knew they were a very smart team, very strategical, so I'm very glad to see that they live up to their potential, something that has given Tempo Storm so many fans. Smart rotations, smart strategical play, we really saw that come to power. But what I find even more illuminating, surprising I guess, is that Team Braveheart gave them such a run for their money. Even as I thought Tempo Storm looked as good or better now than in their match against Team DK, which is the Korean team, which, you know, most people say Koreans are the favorite, number 1 always. But Tempo Storm looked even better, but they struggled possibly even more against Braveheart to close out the game. You could also say they played more carefully, more safely, which is cool, but it just goes to show how much Braveheart as a team has grown over the last week.
Obviously, a lot of Tempo Storm fans out there here at the moment, not only joining us here at BlizzCon, but also out in the interwebs. And at the moment, they do have quite the fan favorite backing with that 84% win ratio that we were seeing come out from the Twitterverse over there. But is it really that cut and dry here, Todd? With seeing how Braveheart have been able to approach that first game, going into another one, especially since they have either their map choice pick or even going on to first pick.
Not necessarily, you know, Tempo Storm, again, they had a lot of good moments, but they had 1 or 2 moments that were like, I'm not so sure, you know, that one part where they had 39 minions at the top out of 40, and they waited for a long time. As I looked at it, I was like, this is actually a really good idea. But then as it unfolded, they got caught, and most of them died. That's a little bit of, I guess, what you could call fancy play syndrome, where you try to do something way too fancier than you needed to instead of just playing it standard. Maybe the execution wasn't there as well, and I almost thought that for a second that was going to cost them the game here. I was really worried.
I love it. Fancy play syndrome. We've got to coin that one. We've got to coin that one, that's for sure. Let's get into our draft here for game number 2 between Tempo Storm and Braveheart. As we are going to be moving on to our next map, it will be Sky Temple here between the two teams. As we start things off, the proceedings will begin. And we're going to see what these first bans are going to be coming out. We already saw the Abathur going down, and Tyrande is going to be the first ban here from Braveheart, Grubby.
All right. Yeah, Tyrande is a very popular pick for Tempo Storm when they go for the 3 ranged assassin play. They haven't shown that in the first game here, which is kind of cool because they had this moment where they were harkening back to their days of comfort. 1 warrior, 1 support, and 3 ranged damage dealers. They showed a bit of a different style here just now. Abathur banned by Tempo Storm. I mean, there's not too much to say. Like, it's very difficult to know exactly what they want to achieve with their first bans. I mean, it's obvious what you achieve with an Abathur ban, but like, there's so many good options that overanalyzing it at this point wouldn't do too much yet.
And then on the other side, of course, we have that Abathur coming out, as you mentioned. I mean, realistically, Abathur here on a map like Sky Temple, Todd, very powerful. Most people don't want to have to deal with it.
Yeah, it's going to be very safe most of the time. You know, sitting behind a wall, he's going to have the mobility, you know, be able to tunnel somewhere, soak some experience, use symbiote somewhere to really help somebody else. So, yeah, you're right. Nobody really wants to deal with this, and Sky Temple is a map that defines a team brawler style of game, where you're going to be fighting a lot, and again, those compositions are going to be very important, so I can blame them for banning Tyrann there as well.
I believe we saw Jaina come out as first pick here for Braveheart. Jack of all compositions, you want to say here, Grubby?
Yeah, I mean, Jaina just offers a lot in general. She's one of the most reliable range damage dealers. If she tags you, you're not getting away, pretty much. Because of that 35% slow on all of her basic abilities and her heroics as well.
And Uther gets picked here, so that's going to set Tempo Storm up very nicely for somebody else to be picked, and it's Sonya here. That's this time around, he's going to have, I guess, maybe we can say that a true babysitter that can keep her alive properly, while she's in the front line screaming and killing everybody.
To Zuna's credit, he didn't really seem to need it last game. I mean, he had Tyrael and Malfurion, but he played very carefully here, and he's really an incredible player with a rich pro gaming background, and you could see just how well he played that game. Would love to see him again on that Sonya, and we're going to see exactly that.
Got to agree, and it wasn't even the most aggressive of Sonya builds. It was a very sustainable Sonya build that we saw come out from Zuna. So as much as he is aggressor incarnate, it wasn't exactly the extra step of aggression he could have been.
Yeah, he's not always been known for his survivability in some of these games, so he definitely did a pretty good job of that in the previous one. But no, Muradin gets picked up here from Team Braveheart. So they opened very strong. Jaina and Muradin, definitely two of the top tier heroes out there that you can grab very early in a draft like this.
And the exact same two picks as they did in the first game. Jaina into Muradin, and if that follows up with, if history guarantees results in the future, that would be Kel'Thas. But it's actually going to be Tyrael. They do not want to go up against that again.
No, they do not. They want to have that sanctification all for themselves. And against someone like Sonya, I think it's a good pickup. You know, Sonya, as you say, is screaming around in the front, flailing her arms around, hitting things. It's not exactly what you want to have to deal with. So picking up Tyrael gives you good shield ability and potential to go up to, and obviously her heroic abilities. Yes, you can go for Judgment if you like, but really at the moment it's the sanctification that's making those plays, but you can still flip it on your head if you want, because if you do go for Judgment and you see the opportunity against a composition that you need to dive onto, he's that kind of guy. He's that kind of guy.
It used to be the thing to do. It was so trending, but that's so 2014 now, going for Judgment.
Yeah, if somebody went for Sanctification once upon a time, his team wouldn't be too happy because they thought he was trolling, but funny how things turn out, and now Sanctification is one of the more popular heroics that we see out there. So Braveheart, again, on Sky Temple, there's going to be a lot of fights happening on those temples. In particular, say you have a fight at the bottom temple, you're all in an enclosed, tight area that you can't really leave very easily from, so that could come greatly into play.
Interesting bans coming out. Illidan ban coming, based on what I would assume would be they don't want Illidan with Tyrael for the like true diving composition.
And Muradin as well.
Yes, and Muradin. You're totally right, actually.
Yeah, everyone would be going in. Jaina would be the last thought on everyone's mind, but the last thing they'll ever see as she comes barreling down with her spells of frost. So removing a very strong all-in potential there from Braveheart. They're going to be going with their trusty Sylvanas and Vala, just like last game.
Sylvanas really skyrocketing back to popularity, by the way. Like for some time, really wasn't picked that much anymore. It was all about Jaina, Kel'Thas, sometimes Vala, guys like Nazeebo. But Sylvanas has been picked so much here already so far in BlizzCon here.
Yeah, they've really figured out, especially Tempo Storm here in particular, they've figured out like a composition that really, really fits them. And then on the other side here, Braveheart are going to be picking up Zagara. So good map vision control, but also that mod does provide themselves ample opportunity to, in essence, divide and conquer here, Grubby.
Yeah, Zagara has become a very defensive hero. Actually, Brightwing is a super cool pick as well. Again, a very defensive hero, but the way that Zagara used to be used is always do a Devouring Maul and everyone piles in on there and tries to take down the enemy. But recently, Zagara's Devouring Maul has been used as a disengage.
And then, of course, we have Brightwing here, Todd, for Braveheart. What do you make of this pickup?
Brightwing, you know, I mean, they needed a healer. Uther was already gone, so it was either going to be Malf, Brightwing, Rhaegar, or maybe Karazim. And if you look at all these options, it seems like Brightwing definitely could do a pretty good job out there. You know, you stay at the bottom lane, say, for example, in the start, and then you rejoin your teammates if they really need you. If they don't, then you stay down there, you soak for the whole time. And it's just going to be a lot of mobility, extra soaking capability here for Braveheart. And They really like to fight a lot, so it makes sense for them to go for something like this.
Tempo Storm goes with Tassadar. I was thinking, which warrior are they going to pick? Sonya very rarely gets picked as the solo warrior in a composition, as she is not really a tank, she's a warrior, but plays out more as a bruiser or even melee assassin. Going with Tassadar here is something we've seen at the America Regional Championships, and it's so cool to see.
And the thing is looking at this composition as a whole here from Tempo Storm, Sonya's gonna be really powerful. She's gonna have Divine Shield behind her and those 5-second shields coming out from Tassadar with the potential of Force Wall cutting these guys off. This could be quite... Actually, now looking at it, do you think Force Wall is a foregone conclusion here, Todd?
Not necessarily, but generally speaking, it's so good that you kind of have to go for it. But the TRL and Muradin have an escape. And also even Sanctification could come greatly into play. So you raise a great point here. It's definitely going to be open. Maybe they consider the potential here to go for Archon instead.
Yeah, potentially. I think they could here. I mean, it would be a lot of damage, wouldn't it, Grubby? But as I say, with the Force Wall, with the amount of escapes that the Warriors and even Brightwing would have, it would be a little bit more difficult to try and get someone properly locked down.
It really depends on playstyle. I would say both are almost equally viable here. I mean, Archon got a little bit weaker last patch. Force Wall gained a little bit of traction, but it really depends if Tassadar wants to position himself very aggressively and try and get a Force Wall on either Zagara or Jaina. But if he stays in the backline and he doesn't want to do that, then Archon makes a lot more sense, because there's absolutely no point trying to Force Wall one of the warriors.
All right, well, thank you very much, Todd, once again here for your insights into this game. We will be joining in with you later. For now, though, we're going to be getting into game number 2 here between Tempo Storm and Braveheart to find out who is keeping themselves alive in the World Championship as we get into Sky Temple. And to the left-hand side, it will be Tempo Storm with Arthelon going to be playing Sylvanas, Dreadnaught on Uther, Kaeyoh will be on Tassadar, Soldier is on Sonya, and Zuna is on Valor. And to the right-hand side, we have Team Braveheart with Bao going to be playing Jaina. Exia will be on Zagara. Gemini is on Brightwing. Kaeyoh is going to be on Muradin. And finally, M will be playing Tyrael, Grubby.
Yeah, all right. Big weight here on Zuna's shoulders. He's the only warrior, I almost want to say warriorless composition, which we saw with Brightwing, Illidan, and Tassadar, and Abathur. It isn't exactly, we've got a warrior, but no real tank. Gets to be more tanky with Tassadar and Uther, though, but it is very important that Zuna, actually it's Soldier playing on Sonya.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there was a little bit of a switch up overall. I mean, Soldier is their warrior player.
Sorry,
I mean,
missed that.
Once you've only got one warrior, I guess that's what you got to do.
Yeah, sure.
But this will be interesting. They have explosive potential here. Even with actually going for a more sustainable build with Sonya, that's the exact build that you want to go for Sonya here in this one warrior setup.
All right. Big weight on Soldier's shoulders then. He needs to stay up or their composition will fall apart. Vision fight here. They are not exactly going to go all out over the Vision. It's not worth that much, contrary to what some people think. The Vision is nice, but it's not worth dying over, so they're just trying to steal it from each other. We've got a rotation here coming to the middle. Soldier on the Sonya, choosing not to dismount.
Ambitious to go for Sonya here, but it looks like
nice dodge.
Misses, and that is going to be an escape there for Soldier to start things off.
Very nice dodge there. That was very important. You would lose a lot of experience if you go down there. Soldier was able to keep his responsibility to the team. Now, 2 temples go up in 5 seconds. The top one is worth slightly more, because if you push in with a bruiser cap, you can take down the enemy fort if the objective has already lasered down the walls. You see actually that Tempo Storm is going to be getting the top one. They should be happy with that. Note that not all 5 players will be congregating on one of those. You still want to get all the experience in the lanes. Yeah. It's too valuable to sacrifice at this moment.
You're definitely right. Usually the first 2 temples are just trade for trade, unless someone gets some really smart kind of rotation.
Hey, I have a good idea.
Yeah.
then you would do that.
And then oftentimes when you're the rotator, you lose out on shots. Yeah. but anyway, Tempo Storm here, just going to move on away for a moment whilst they wrestled over control, as you can see, towards the middle on the mini-map as well. And you see Sonya just trying to tackle on against Tyrael even, and actually doing a pretty good job of it. Hem is under a little bit of trouble, but we'll be fine.
All right, so they took each other's temple. Yeah. No bad feelings there. as they split one apiece once again. Just taking the other one.
Share and share alike, no problems. Although, could get the last shots from here as well if the Tempo Storm isn't careful. So this is a nice little start here by Braveheart, and they will be able to steal those shots away.
All right, we see a little bit more of an aggressive Tyrael build coming out of M here by Team Braveheart, going for the Purge Evil, more damage on the opponent. He wants to do that because he's the second warrior in the team, not just the only one. So you have more of a damage build, less defense.
Yeah, and with Muradin as well. Of all warriors, with Muradin, the best sustained warrior in the game right now when it comes to that kind of play. So for now, we will just see them still stabilizing on out. Quite a bit of pressure going on down towards the bottom lane, but it was fended off here by Braveheart quite nicely by Exia, Bao, and Gemini, making sure that Kaeyoh and Arthelon have no room whatsoever.
Now, Tempo Storm showed some excellent strategical play last game. Note that they have not captured any camps yet. I wonder if they have any plans to take the two of them as the objective is spawning. We have a very early siege giant camp from Braveheart here.
Interesting decision making by Arthelon as well there. Technically, he threw the Haunting Wave forwards towards the Brightwing and probably could have secured the kill. But you've always got to think about how your escape route is going to be. And that could have been a little bit scary for Sylvanas without a Haunting Wave. This is a great rotation though by Braveheart. They're going to be able to blow up Valor. That will be first blood going over to the Chinese team.
And that's the power of Brightwing, turning any 1v1 into a 2 or even 3v1 if there was someone lurking in the shadows, even as she was at the bottom lane. So now we see the Bruiser camp being attempted to be captured here by Soldier on Sonya, and we see the same thing. Very interesting to see is that if both teams will go immediately to the bottom, or if they will keep lookouts in the top and the middle lane for experience. Now, Gemini on the Brightwing, he can stay for very long and make sure that his Bruiser camp beats the one from the opponent.
Yes. And that's really, really good for them, obviously, in the end, once you're able to do that as Brightwing, and then just flip back down towards the bottom to be able to support your team. You've got yourself a really good support pushing wave up towards the top. But you can see also Sylvanas is lingering up towards the top at the moment. I wonder if she's going to back off or if she's actually going to rival that position. Because if she does rival that position, we all know how much Sylvanas can get done with her Black Arrow trade.
Yeah, exactly. So it's smart to keep on there, but they have to be careful. This could suddenly be a 5 versus 4 against Tempo Storm. Braveheart would like to bring in Brightwing and have a definitive fight. Is she going to port in yet? For now, it's a 4v4. Brightwing still defending. If she goes away, Sylvanas will get a free fort.
At the same time, Zuna was quite far forwards there. This composition as a whole, Tempo Storm has got to be so careful about their positioning because it does have a weak front line with only Sonya available to them. As still, Sylvanas and Brightwing battling up towards the top, still a 4v4 towards the bottom, and we will have a brief pause here as they continue on.
We'll try to figure out what's going on there, but just describing the situation here, we see that neither team is sending all 5. Brightwing is basically locked in position to defend Sylvanas because she can get free, she can get the free push going on at the top there, where in the meantime, both teams at the bottom with a 4 versus 4 managed to kind of stay in stasis.
Yep.
They didn't really get any kills, but Tempo Storm was able to push them out there. Yep. Sylvanas, she's still pushing the top, so it looks overall very good for Tempo Storm so far.
And it's not like there was too much struggle about the first temples to really kind of delay this out to the point where this one temple phase comes along where there is a particular talent advantage going on down the line. Both teams at the moment, level 7 or 8, around level 7 or 8 each. So they're very, very equal at the moment. Very, very equal, despite that one kill going over against Valor at the very top.
So we just have a bit of an audio issue going on here in this match. That's why Team Braveheart requested the pause. We're trying to work that out. We beg your patience and appreciate your understanding as we're trying to work this out just to provide optimal playing conditions for both teams here.
Overall, looking at the lineups and looking at what you see here from Tempo Storm specifically, are you kind of surprised by how they've approached this? This is just not a common draft whatsoever. Do you think that they're going to have success here on the map, I say, Tempo?
I mean, Tempo Storm has a very big emphasis on strategical play. That's why they keep favoring Sylvanas there, going with pushes. And, okay, it looks like actually we have resumed the game once again, so if we can pop back into the game, that will be all spiffy and dandy.
Yeah, let's jump back in here to game number 2. You can see that actually Brightwing did a great job against Sylvanas up towards the top lane there. So Sylvanas is going to have to back off for a moment. I think she did tap well. She'll be trying to get back towards the fight for the most part, but it's still 4v4. Level 10 is rapidly approaching here for Braveheart as they're getting some of the last shots here from this. They have been pushed away, so the remaining shots will go to Tempo Storm, but level 10 hitting here. It's going to be Devouring Maw, Blink Heal, Avatar. We will see Judgment come out here from Tyrael. So very, very heavy aggression coming out from the Chinese once again.
All right, Judgment there, going to maybe single out Sonya a little bit if she gets too far, or jumping on the back line. One more pause, as perhaps the issue has not been resolved yet. I do apologize for that.
All in all, these gamers do need to be playing in the right conditions for themselves. So having these pauses and making sure that they are in a very, very important match as well, you want everything to be okay. So let's have a little bit of patience here for these guys whilst they get everything sorted. We've talked about Tempo Storm's composition here, obviously. Looking at Team Braveheart's composition, with the Brightwing, it's like, we were mentioning it before in the draft. Abathur has the ability to soak on these lanes, obviously. Brightwing, in essence, is kind of the poor man's Abathur for this little bit of play. I would even go as far as say one of a rich man's Abathur, because it's actually fantastic in the lanes to then just be able to join that fight whenever you need it in a full capacity.
Yeah, I mean, Brightwing is a very difficult to play hero. Like the way that she... I mean, the easy part is like the experience, but once you jump into battle, things get a lot more exciting.
Yes.
Like, if she wants to heal one of the warriors, you require one of the warriors to step back a little bit so that she can heal safely. Her heroic actually works. Blink heal, she can use it very often, but she will blink onto an allied hero to heal them. And the risk if you just do that on one of your warriors who stays in the front line is that you're going to get the brunt of the enemy's attacks, stuns, area of effect abilities, all that damage, so it's very risky. It's difficult to play hero, and it's really cool to see her being played more.
Just listening to the crowd, they're having a fun time here at BlizzCon.
So am I. So are we, I think.
Yes, I think so. I think so. They are well behind Tempo Storm at the moment. The Chinese team, though, having flown so far and having the be able to play on this kind of stage. I mean, we have 2 Chinese teams here as well as our Korean team. You know, very, very. Oh, and even our Taiwanese team. Now that I think about it, very, very admirable thing. And in the spirit of competition, don't tilt. Don't tilt.
He just tilted his poster.
Oh, he did. He kind of changed the angle slightly. Anyway, let's get back into game number 2 here, guys, as we get back onto Sky Temple. And level 10 hits here for Tempo Storm as well, so it will be Wailing Arrow. Force Wall's going to come out and into effect here against this composition. Wrath of the Berserker, we also have Strafe, and finally Divine Shield for their comp to round things out.
Now, there's one hero who hasn't picked yet, and that's Jaina. Now, this may not be an oversight, that may be hiding the surprise from the opponent, saying that they don't know if they need to position against Ring of Frost, or maybe it's just going to be Water Elemental. They play out very differently, and Bao's just hiding information potentially here.
Yes, they do. And if you just pick Ring of Frost during a time where Sonya engages in very, very aggressively, it's actually going to be someone Water Elemental overall. So it's a choice that is kind of the more standard go-to, the good all-round, trying to blow someone up and having some extra bits of sustained damage. Wow, they're really forcing out a very, very strong move there from them.
Yeah, a very nice move there by Tempo Storm, taking down one tower and heading back immediately. They had the vision from the bottom tower, knowing that there was a full Hearthstone. Oh, Braveheart, with 2 members here being caught out almost.
Not willing to risk the idea of Sonya having backup right next to her. Would have been a little bit scary here for Muradin and
Wow, Muradin and Uther meeting. And no one will go down because they have really low damage.
Muradin was quite deep there, actually. Has to get out of there. Of course, yeah, we've already mentioned one of the best sustaining tanks in the game, but still, that was quite far.
I'm so proud of both teams here. Braveheart for China, Tempo Storm for North America, giving us such a spectacle here in the second match of the BlizzCon Grand Finals World Championship here today.
And everything is on the line every single game throughout the day. I mean, every single game is pretty much an elimination game. So every single team at this point is giving it their all. There is no messing around in the draft. It is 100% full throttle here. And this is one of the compositions that Tempo Storm feels is going to be able to bring them that next step on to try and get that rematch against DK.
Yeah, one of those pocket strategies we sometimes hear being whispered about in the halls. We have something something up our sleeves, which may be a little bit surprising, and it certainly is. So far, going toe-to-toe, Tempo Storm and Braveheart, sharing 1 tempo apiece.
Very, very even still. You're totally right about this. And Tempo Storm doesn't look to be wrestling it away from someone. I think this is actually a really cool choice by Tempo Storm. Spreading a composition like this thin could be extremely detrimental to your chances going up against a double warrior composition with the potential of Judgment as a burst potential.
Yes, exactly. They got caught out by surprise once last game. Oh, Judgment there! Nice vault there on Vala, getting away in time.
Straight on towards Zuna here, taking a lot of damage. Elder into fight as well. He actually finds Soul's been popped also with the straight, trying to do some damage towards the back lines here from Braveheart, but they will disengage themselves. No kill potential there just yet for Team Tempo Storm, but they even dive in forwards to Soldier. Very, very aggressively forward.
First of all,
and will be able to block on towards Zuna. They actually do tell to his fight. Soldier is under a lot of pressure as well. Moore's going to go down into one person. And overall, Dread here is going to be the one to go down overall. That is a 1-for-0 trade here going over to Braveheart.
Ah, nicely done by Braveheart, getting most of the shots there from the top temple. They have yielded it as Brightwing actually walked down instead of teleporting, it looked like. Came very slowly. Getting a few more charges there is Sylvanas, but Brightwing will get the bottom. And actually, the final charges will go to Braveheart. That's 5 more charges.
I feel that as much as Tempo Storm has, like, really cool burst and damage potential, they just don't have that front line to really commit.
Yeah.
You saw those force walls and how low some of the warriors were, but nobody really wanted to jump on the opportunity to try and blow them up.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. They don't have that much crowd control, stunts and slows on the opponent to try and finish one of Braveheart's heroes off. But partly what played in there, Kalaris, is also, of course, as you saw, Zuna there on Vala was getting judgmented. That heroic there from Tyrael that we actually did not expect. And he was vaulting away, but he was still in the danger zone. Muradin with the follow-up there, going on her, meant that Vala had to get the help of Divine Shield immediately.
Yes.
And that is why they lacked a bit of staying power. It's not how they wanted the fight to start.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be using Divine Shield for much more different purposes. During all of that, that could be the blow upon towards Dread here. A lot of damage already. Thanks to the Divine Shield. They're going to a little bit of miscommunication there from Braveheart as the Divine Shield goes down straight on towards Soldier. And at the same time, that's going to be Uther falling thanks to the fact that Kaeyoh was all the way down on towards the left-hand side. Maybe rotating around here. This is very, very ambitious. They want the entire team force walls being able to seal off Muradin from the rest of the composition. And he's going to move away here for now.
Blizzard misses. Blizzard misses. They're moving back in. The boss is still playing around with them. It's now at 10%. Oh, we've got Soldier here in the deadlock against Kaeyoh.
Going to be very, very careful. Has to sustain. Jaina ends up dying up towards the top. Likewise, the Sylvanas. Soldier still being pursued here by Muradin. The Valor ends up falling as well. Soldier's going to go down. And Braveheart here with a level advantage. All the boss leashed, but they still have a great opportunity to be able to take it despite having been dead almost.
Oh, very ambitious there by Zagara to keep that boss leashed for as long as she did. Zaya there almost had it down, and then suddenly we had that deep dive by Tempo Storm. They got the kill, but it ended very favorably for Braveheart. They're playing so well this game.
Yes, they are. Level 16 at the moment as well, so still more aggressive talents coming out from Arthelon here with Blood for Blood at level 16.
Wow.
Not holy ground. So Judgment, Blood for Blood, really trying to focus down on one target, and especially if it's Sonya, that's going to do big, big burst potential.
Yeah, with the double grooved spines by Zagara, not the Mutilis. Lots of damage, lots of burst potential there, as you said. Boss now pushing, and it means that the temple will be in full control for Braveheart. They can also have access to the Siege Giant camp. They even have access to maybe pushing top lane a little bit. They have lots of options here. Bow, now gonna add some pressure here with the Siege Giant and the boss.
They're in a lot of control here. They really are. They've got the temple firing away at this. The boss is doing okay. The easy camp is with them, but now they're gonna have to disengage. They don't want to get caught by a force wall, but even if they do, they want to try and catch Bow. The slowdown from that was trying to catch Bow there. If they could have got Bow on the side of a force wall, that would have been fantastic with that frost shot trying to hit from Valor.
Yes, exactly, and I feel like Kaeyoh could have done it if he used his E ability, Dimensional Shift. He would have bonus movement speed and be able to place a force wall, but that's also his escape, which he can only use once every 20 seconds, and he just didn't want to take that risk. There's no need to be desperate yet. Yes, they're down a level, Tempo Storm, but they still have all 3 keeps, even as Braveheart is in the lead of this game.
Easy camp going to be taken by Braveheart, as they do actually wrestle away the last shots there to Tempo Storm from Braveheart, pushing them back while all of that was going on. So at least a little consolation prize there for Tempo Storm. And it's Gemini up towards the top once again, always getting that split soak potential, and that for the most part, yeah, it's been 6 kills against 2.
This is a 3 versus 5, willingly taken by Braveheart, but a full disengage.
Yeah, not wanting to take that too much. I think they're completely understanding that Brightwing here is gaining them a lot of value. Being away from the team, there's no reason for them to be too eager just yet.
Brightwing picking up that greater polymorph, extending her polymorph duration from 1.5 seconds to 2.5, during which the opponent's hero will not be able to cast any spells. Will have 20% reduced movement speed. And of course, if it's Sonya, that's only a 1.25 second stun. 1.25 second polymorph, because she has reduced crowd control when Wrath of the Berserker is on, but still very useful. Oh, Soldier!
But he does not work out for the most part. He does get himself away, thankfully, all the way to the rest of the team, though. Zuna was taking quite a lot of damage from that Water Elemental. It does go down, though. That was a good kill off on the Water Elemental, considering. Oh, that Ascension Spear forwards there. Very aggressive by Soldier. Divine Shield's been popped on them as well. They really want this fight. There goes the Judgment Bolt towards Zuna from M, but still no follow-up on towards it. It might have gone a little bit too deep here. This might have backfired. They're trying to blow him up, but Soldier here in the back lines, still being pressured. Tyrael's going to fall. Here comes his Spirit. Will it blow up on towards Dread? Yes, it will. As Uther goes down. Spear back in, on towards Exia. Exia taking a lot of damage. Force Wall tries to seal over. Breaks it off. Zagara goes down.
Oh, nice force wall there. Kaeyoh showing how powerful. No, no!
Zagara goes down. That was a good return kill there from Braveheart to be able to just kind of keep things even 2 for 2
well
trade.
Played by Bao there. I don't think that Kaeyoh expected that on the Tassadar.
I don't think so. As a Tassadar at level 16, you feel invincible with Dimensional Warp and the oppressions, of course.
Don't even try to take me down. I'm invincible. Why did you take me down?
I don't know. How could you be so aggressive? But there you go. That's how it goes. And now we do have these temples activating. The Soldier just going to seize the top one, but he can't really stick around here for too long.
This is risky.
Yeah.
Bao moving in there. Trap has been set. Murden and Jaina, they're going on Zuna. Vault has been used. Stormbolt hits.
Great stun. He tried to do a lot of damage. Both of them was popped there for Zuna, but it's not going to be enough to actually keep him alive during all of this. And at the same time here, Kaeyoh trying to battle against Soldier as he was up towards that top shrine. And they're just going to back off for now, but a great kill on towards Valor.
Oh, this is such an amazing play by Braveheart as they take control of both temples. Lasers are shooting at the keeps. Let's see how far along they exactly are. We even have Tyrael there checking and scouting with Eldrin's Might on the Bruiser camp.
It's funny, I mean, look at from opening week to BlizzCon week. We've seen the evolution of these teams. We've been watching them scrim back and forth, and you can see, even with Braveheart here, just for 1 week's time, the difference in their play from opening week to now. It's really, really fantastic to see how they've been able to adapt as a team.
Yes, exactly. It's wonderful to see how much they have grown. You always have that team during a tournament who is the favorite. You've got the underdog, but you've also got the team who grows as a team, who comes together and shows greater level of play than they have ever done, reaching a moment of pure, just competitive spirit and able to pull through.
And they do have level 20 at the moment. They're going to go for this boss very aggressively here at Braveheart. Brightwing is up towards the top, almost in essence luring them away. Tempo Storm here from the impending boss that is going to be taken very, very easily.
Key moments coming up here as they're trying to stop the boss.
They see it with the Oracle as well on towards the Tassadar. Tempo Storm really wants to try and get something done, but it's not going to happen. They don't have level 20. They do not want to take that fight, and it will be the boss going over to Braveheart.
That may get a keep, as I seem to remember the wall is down already with the last boss and the Siege Giant. The keep has how much life? Let's take a look at that. 60%.
They're working on it very early.
Now, of course, Tassadar can shield the keep, and that will probably save it in this case.
Yeah, they're working on it pretty early here as well, but that's a great force warp. Brilliant little move to buy some time. You can see already, though, M very eager to get in there and try and help out this boss, knowing that there's the potential that they could do some big damage here, considering level 20 is still not hit here for Tempo Storm.
Braveheart wants to guarantee this keep kill, and that's exactly what they're doing. The question is, are they going to be staying around? So far they are. Zuna with the strafe to force the disengage. And level 19.9. Braveheart with a keep advantage. They have the potential now to set a trap, but look at that wall. Gemini being revealed, very angry at the wall, throwing bananas.
Very annoying.
Will position themselves in the middle. Level 20 has been reached.
I want to point out that the Brightwing skin is the most terrifying skin in game, as we do have now. Still, Muradin just holding off towards the front lines, trying to zone them out from these temples, buying them time to reposition themselves in these next 10 seconds before these come active.
Tempo Storm. Can their strategic genius pull through once again, or will Braveheart continue to ride the momentum to a victory here? The equalizer.
Mission towards the storm ball there, Sonya, but still locked down by a little bit. There was actually numbing blast coming out from that Jaina to try and lock down even further while all of this is going on as that level 16 talent. So they've got to be very, very careful about moving forwards because there's extra little stuns from Braveheart.
Second keep has been taken down by M on Tyrael. And one keep remaining.
Yeah, the Braveheart really playing this out very, very well, but at the same time, Tempo Storm now realizes that they are behind structurally. Needs to take control of these levels. That's some good damage coming out towards Tresor. Likewise, the flank coming out from Bao with that water elemental, trying to go towards Zuna. He's boxed himself out, but at the same time, that's a big, big damage coming down. Oh, the divine shield! One gets the judgment here. Pulling off towards one target from Sonya there at the very pit, but they're still keeping themselves alive. The Law was able to catch a few here, and two other Rugadons going down very quickly if they're not careful. Uther ends up falling, and now at the same time, Valor goes down as well. Braveheart is playing a brilliant engagement here.
Now Uther's going to be coming back. He's still healing Soldier, but there's not enough healing in the world anymore to keep Soldier alive. Arthelon being focused down here, but the real story is 3 heroes have been taken down. Uther will not be coming back once again, and this is a 5 versus 2. Now, except for a miracle, this could be the end of the game.
This could be it. This could be it right here. Braveheart looking to push on towards the core. They get themselves another kill. Uther falls once again. Braveheart knows they're in a great position to be able to take this core in game number 2. It's all on Arthelon to be able to stall this out for as long as possible, but they even focus down onto him. That is a full team wipe here for Braveheart. And they are happy. Look at this. Oh my God. As they try and make a statement here against Tempo Storm, and that will be the core falling, and that will be 1-1, forcing us on to a game number 3.
A huge morale boost for Braveheart here as they equalize the series, and the audience is treated to the equalizer match, the 3rd game decider.
Very, very cool stuff by Braveheart, and I've got to say, you know, as much as they looked good in game number 1 here, in game number 2, they really almost never dropped the ball. They were constantly on their game here.
Yeah, wonderfully played by Braveheart. Such growth from them from last week. They really put last week to good use, and it's just incredible to see how they came together and played as a team.
Todd, once again, got impressed by Braveheart.
Yeah, definitely. The Brightwing that they went for, it did a lot of good for them in terms of soaking, healing, everything. So that was definitely, again, a lot better than what I expected. I really thought it was going to be a close game, but that Tempo Storm were going to be able to win in that map. But that's not what happened. So let's take a look here at our Windows 10 game DVR replay. I picked basically the last fight here, where I didn't think in particular that it was going to go this bad. I'm going to pause here for a moment, and we see Tempo Storm already took a lot of damage. They are trying to kind of peel for each other and re-engage here in a second. But everybody from Braveheart was always perfectly positioned, that they never really would be in any kind of danger. You see, like, they all set up around that area. Like, the entire backline is going to be pretty well protected from Nuradin, always doing a very good job here at the front. So from there, they get this very good fight where 2 players here from Tempo Storm get mauled for a very long time, and they're on the chase. They just want to end the game. He was level 21 against 20. It feels like it could have been anybody's fight, but in the end, they just set up perfectly to win the fight, wipe out their opponents, and then kill the core and finish it.
Really cool stuff there by Braveheart overall. Very, very nice to see them being able to equalize up the odds now and pushing us on to a game number 3. Of course, guys, we've heard here from Tempo Storm about their team captain, though. And before we get into game number 3, let's hear from Braveheart, see what they think about theirs.
我觉得对之前你们说的半选或者指挥这2点其实没有太大的需要我来做的，因为我们队现在指挥是跟迷你，但是我觉得可能我们会需要加紧磨合，然后这个应该要多注意。
就是矛盾应该是没有的，但是他就会给我在旁边就是意见提醒之类的，然后
在我来了1周之后，我们队其实也没有什么特别需要我来做这个决定或者是让我发挥的事情，因为我们队5个人都比较和谐，比较和睦。
在这短短的几天中，我觉得我们队的队长就是给我的感觉就是比较随和，然后比较照顾我们，像个老大哥一样。他对我们的就是赛场外的心态调整肯定是有帮助的，就是帮助我们调节心态和平稳心态。
我觉得让我最骄傲的时刻就是来到美国能穿上中国队的队服。
Wait, what was the question again?
Yeah, what?
I've come into the gaming house and everyone's nice to me. I haven't really gotten any weird things. I get squat like a beast.
That's true.
We get along pretty well. I like to cook food. No one else really likes to cook, so I usually just cook food and eat it, and then people will look at me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Heroes of the Storm World Championship, as we're going to be getting into game number 3 here between Tempo Storm and Braveheart. So far, really been back and forth between these two teams, and not even really what I expected coming in. I expected Tempo Storm to come out flying and being able to really hone down and almost steamroll Braveheart, but so far, Todd, they've proved me wrong.
Yeah, I think Tempo Storm, they get a good opportunity here, though, with this happening in the second game and being 1-1. To use this as a wake-up call. Position themselves better, you know, Sonya was too far out of the front many times, started engaging before the rest of the team was there. The force walls didn't really come into play for the most part, so just in terms of engaging and everybody, you know, being in position, going to the fights, they didn't do good enough, I think.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at it kind of logically. I mean, even from the very word go, Grubby, it was an ambitious draft.
Yeah, a draft that lacked a real initiation. I mean, Sonya can initiate and she can like move in with the spear and stun someone for a bit, but there's no follow-up. You could say that 1 stun is pretty nice, 2 stuns is worth 3 times as much, and 3 stuns could guarantee a kill. It was just Sonya there doing most of the stuns. Uther usually can't get too near, so they lacked a little bit of a way to start the fight, which is what we call initiation.
Yeah.
And if they did start the fight, there was often no follow-up to take down those last inches of Braveheart's heroes' HP.
I mean, that's actually a really good point that you bring up. Overall, during that entire game there, Todd, was there even a single fight or a single proper fight that really went Tempo Storm's way, that was on their terms? Because the Divine Shields always looked kind of a bit off, you know, like not exactly where they wanted them to be, etc.
No, they never really got a good engagement enough to make the fight count. They were always very far behind in takedowns and never really could turn things their way. So there was a few weird decisions as well. Like I think it was one moment they lost maybe Uther at the bottom, and then they still chose to try and contest the boss that they knew was being taken. And that went south very quickly. They lost a few more heroes, and then behind this, they found themselves very far behind.
Are there any kind of maps that you're expecting to come along here? I mean, obviously, having seen, what did we see? We saw Infernal Shrines and then Sky Temple. Actually, not 2 maps that are totally common so far in these map pools. What are we really expecting? If you had to kind of give it a guess here, Grubby.
So the team that just lost was Tempo Storm, so they get the choice to either choose the battleground or choose first pick. And it's pretty much night and day between different teams. Some people prefer the battleground choice, and some people prefer to have the first hero. And it really depends on their strategy. There's a lot of strategy in these kind of moments. Now, usually the team that is not very comfortable against their opponent, if they feel they are the underdog, they'll be going for a battleground like Haunted Mines, Infernal Shrines, some place where you can get the objective and snowball really hard with it. But if both teams feel comfortable, you see more of a push towards battlegrounds like Cursed Hollow and Sky Temple.
Yes. And I think overall, Todd, when we kind of really look at this, you're saying, you know, with the kind of battlegrounds that we could potentially see here, these teams, I mean, all of the teams that we're seeing across the entire time, from opening week to BlizzCon, have really never looked more so even. Let's just ignore the first series that happened for a moment and focus on this one. These teams are looking far more even than we ever expected them to.
Absolutely. Over in Europe, Tomb of the Spider Queen is one of the, probably the most popular map for most teams to go into. So we'll see here what we end up playing on. Maybe Haunted Mice. I feel like we should kind of expect the unexpected here, maybe, between these two at this point.
We just saw Sonya solo warrior. So that is definitely very unexpected.
Anything could happen.
Now, Tempo Storm, they can choose battleground or first pick. Let's say for a moment, if they didn't care about first pick, which battleground should they take?
You could do something wild, like if you're willing to bring out some kind of crazy compositions once again, you could go over to Haunted Mines and do something very, very kind of melee heavy, very aggressive, trying to get the Tyrael in there. They've noticed how in the first bans, we've always seen them in these past 2 games, banning out Abathur instantaneously. Maybe they would want to go to a map where Abathur isn't really as impactful or something like that. What do you think?
So that would leave the option open to maybe go for Dragonshire. Dragonshire is a very tactical map. In fact, I feel like when you play Heroes of the Storm online with friends or strangers, and you don't have the level of coordination that a team like Tempo Storm would have, Dragonshire is one of the most difficult battlegrounds to play because you've got this constant objective pool at the top and at the bottom, the moon and the sunshine, I think they're called. Constantly you have to split your forces. So if you have only one support, it means only one of the 3 lanes can have the support at the same time. There's much less people grouping up together in a 5 versus 5. So I think Dragonshire would be great, and it's also not as strong of a battleground for Abathur.
I think you're right. A lot of my friends, when they started out on Heroes, they were telling me that they had a much harder time on Dragonshire. I was like, right, I really like this map. It's really cool. You set a dragon free, and then you just kill your opponent's buildings and win the game. They were like, yeah, we always lose the Shrines battle. Well, when you start out, I guess it's very hard to properly realize when you need to be fighting and when you should be pulling back, and that's what makes the difference a lot of the time.
That's something that, I mean, comes into play in a lot of these battlegrounds, is that even just the distribution across the lanes alone and knowing where your opponents are going to distribute themselves can be very, very impactful to the game. So I think I like the kind of train of thought we're on here with the idea of maybe just going to something like Dragonshire against the and not having to ban out an Abathur. But then even if we do end up on something like Dragonshire, there are still choice picks on a map like that that can be very powerful. I mean, we've already seen the Uther with Divine Shield having a lot of traction on that map, and even sometimes Chen can come out on Dragonshire.
Yeah, it's funny because when we look at the drafts, a lot of the time we're thinking purely in terms of objectives, fighting for the objectives, or fighting composition. You look a lot at the fighting composition that you're going to have in terms of 5 versus 5 versus your opponents. One thing that's often neglected is the laning phase. Who do you put on what lane and how well are they going to do against who they're going to end up against? And that's very important as well on any map that you play on.
Yeah, there's a lot of good solo laners in the game in particular. I mean, something like Zagara really stands out. Are there any other particular solo laners that you really like here on the map, in a game like Heroes of the Storm, where solo laning is actually prevalent across all maps?
Yeah, I mean, Dragonshire, Tomb of the Spider Queen often have, especially on ladder, but also in competitive, one hero fending for himself and the other 4 kind of roaming around as an assassination squad trying to get one of the opponent's heroes. Chen is absolutely amazing by himself, if he stays by himself in a 1v1. But if the opponent comes to gank him, he has no escape. So it is a very difficult hero to play correctly. You need to keep your eyes on the minimap.
Have you watched Grovy's stream, Kaeyoh? I thought it was all about a Sergeant Hammer solo on the lane.
Solo lane Hammer?
I've seen it, I think, on your stream.
I just follow the support. I don't care if I'm leaving a lane open. Always alone. The only time I leave my team alone is when the objective is up. Because that means that my team can do a nice 4 versus 5 and I can push the lane by myself. Feels really good, man.
Wow. That's all I'm going to say about that. Wow. That's quite the impressive little bit of teamwork there, Grubby. I hope you're passing these messages on to all of your stream viewers.
I have a lot of faith in every single Heroes of the Storm player to take care of themselves just fine 4 versus 5 while I get other objectives and do other important things.
Whilst you PvE, basically.
PvE is a skill too.
Yeah, I guess so.
You have to shoot at the middle minion to damage all of them with hammer.
How much do you play Gaslow? Do you play Gaslow at all?
What kind of man do you take me for?
Cutting down trees, doing what you want? No?
Gaslow, no.
No? Oh, well, I like myself a little bit of Gaslow from time to time. Todd, when it comes to kind of like who you really like to get going when it comes to Hero League, who are your particular favorites?
Usually the heroes that I think are the strongest out there, so it depends on the meta. You know, once upon a time, Stitches was one of the very best. Now things kind of changed and he's not nearly as popular or as strong as he used to be. Still pretty good though, if you can combo with somebody in particular.
That's a good question though, sorry. I've got to interrupt you for a moment. Do you think we will see a Stitches in the remainder of the tournament?
I wish, but I don't think so. But to be honest, there is such a high contrast between the games that we will play in Hero League, be it solo, duo queue, or even 5-man quick match, and what these guys here at BlizzCon can pull off. In terms of composition, execution, everything, the Wenbo that we saw, some of those were incredible, and it's really hard to pull off these fights properly, and I've been very impressed with some of these teams' execution in these fights.
I'm agreeing actually with some of the people in the crowd there. We definitely need Pepe, the small little bird, in Heroes of the Storm. That's what we need right there. Actually, I think I actually nicknamed Falstad's bird Pepe for a while. Bless that.
It never really caught on, but you keep on mentioning it.
Sorry.
Poor Swifty.
Poor Swifty.
Poor Swifty.
Is that what it's called?
I think so. He says, "All right, come on, Swifty."
Oh, well, there you go, I guess.
But yeah, or he's just very fast.
He is, especially when you get Epic Mount level 20. There's Pepe! There's 2 Pepes! Oh, we love Pepe. We do love Pepe.
This squad's been really good. I think a lot of people here want to see Tempo Storm try and get a rematch against DK.
Oh, yes. I want to see Tempo Storm versus DK as well, personally. The rematch. Considering how Tempo Storm actually pushed DK to the brink, and considering how much a lot of people had big faith in the Korean teams coming into this tournament, getting a rematch would be fantastic.
I'm just really happy about this being such a close match because Team DK, I mean, they're waiting for the winner here.
Yes.
They're waiting to knock someone out. Team DK said in their interview, "We are here to win." They're from Korea. They said, "We are here to win, and everyone else can just have fun." Now, certainly, I'm having a lot of fun, but I think they were also talking about the teams. Tempo Storm and Braveheart are playing phenomenal games here, and Tempo Storm very nearly, save for a few mistakes, beat Team DK 2-1 just last week. When Braveheart goes toe-and-toe with them, this could be an absolutely amazing match no matter who advances.
Yes, and obviously, you know, a lot of people out there are very familiar here with Tempo Storm, but maybe not as familiar with Braveheart. Let's take a look at them.
我们这个队伍成立于2014年10月17日，就是国服 A 测开始的那一天，然后中间一直不停的有人员变动，直至2015年5月份，我们的人员稳定下来，是现在的 Braveheart。
我们把风暴英雄视作自己的职业，我们每天训练大概10小时左右。我们现在最重要的考虑应该是我们这个新队伍的磨合期，因为我们是因为签证问题没有全部都过，所以说跟另外的队员沟通上还不是特别好。
DK 是韩国最强的，他的实力非常强悍。然后北美是 C9嘛，然后我们中国的外熬也很强。我们的队长宝是一个非常有亲和力的人。当我们队伍出现困难，比如说输掉比赛的时候，他会团结我们，给我们语言上的鼓励，然后平时生活上也非常有帮助，就是对我们非常友善。
成绩大家肯定都是想获得最好的成绩，但是我们会尽自己最大的努力。
我们代表中国出战，自然会全力以赴，目标是非常好。
And of course, that is Braveheart. And it's interesting overall to see how they actually have gelled with one another, considering they are basically a new team, a newly founded team to come here, try and represent China as strongly as they possibly can. They're some of China's very strongest players. And so far, to me today, they've certainly impressed me, Todd.
Yeah, trying to do China proud. They're from a country that has a rich history in esports. A lot of champions across multiple games of every genre. And I'm sure here they would love to be crowned world champions. But this is the elimination match here in which they're putting up a good fight. They need to continue, I guess, their momentum going with that last map that they won, and then try and beat DK in the next match.
That's something that's a very good point that you bring up. You know, China's heritage in esports. Grubby, you've had a lot of experience with Chinese players in past games, etc., and moving on forwards. We already saw Team YL playing very aggressively and looking dominating in their previous series. Likewise, you know, we're seeing some aggressive tendencies coming out from Braveheart as well.
Yeah, I would never underestimate any Chinese player after having my fair share of experience against them. It was actually in the year 2005 that the first most legendary player from China made his mark upon the world, Sky, Li Xiaofeng, as he won the World Cyber Games in 2005 and again in 2006 and got second in 2007. A legend was created, and Sky has from that moment onwards been known as one of the most famous players in the game.
Well, it looks like, guys, after everything has been said and done, we are good to get into game number 3 draft. So thank you very much for your patience here as we get into game number 3 between Tempo Storm and Braveheart, and we will be on Dragon China. So our theorizing, our power plays, it was all for everything, and we did it, Grubby, with bans out on Muradin.
But actually, the first pick goes to Tempo Storm, so it was Braveheart that picked it. The Dragon Shower pick was correct.
So after the last game, they feel confident, it seems like.
Yeah, for a split map situation. I mean, they did use that Brightwing to great effect.
And to be honest, they love to fight no matter what. They love to rotate, get into small skirmishes. What better map than Dragon Shower to do that between the mid and bottom lane in particular, which are very close together.
And they're also banning out Uther. They've shown they're very comfortable playing Brightwing. Braveheart is, so it's a very nice support to take away.
Yeah, don't want to have to deal with Uther being a nuisance on this map. They're getting that Divine Shield down on, being able to secure that Dragon Knight. Very, very powerful play. And that means now, if they do want to go down the Brightwing path, we're going to have to see Tempo Storm taking another route for their support.
Now, what we expect here is probably Jaina coming out first. They did want to take first pick, so it's either Abathur or Jaina probably. It's going to be Jaina, the most reliable ranged assassin pretty much in the game.
No more Sonya first pick. Is the Sonya craze going to continue though? Because it seems that they really like it right now.
We definitely could see it down the line, for sure, here. It's always kind of been prevalent in a lot of Korean meta. We saw it for a while. It did fall off a little bit here and there.
I like what Tempo Storm is doing here. Just now they faced off twice against Jaina Murdin. Two difficult compositions. They're now trying to grow root in the rocks and break apart the composure of Team Braveheart, removing both Murdin and Jaina by a ban and a pick respectively. So we have no idea how Braveheart reacts in a situation like this.
And they're going to react with a Tyrande to start things off. So a very, very aggressive pickup here, going all the way back to, I say, this morning. As we had YL being also aggressive with Tyrande.
One of the crazy things about picking Tyrande like this is that we've seen Chinese teams quite a bit play with single healer Tyrande, which is very unusual. You don't really almost ever see this. They seem to really like it. And there's a lot you can do with it. She's such a good utility hero. She's going to be providing for some healing. She's going to have a stun as well. ETC. So we're going to be seeing these two once again being used together here.
I have a bit of a feeling that Braveheart had a little bit of a chit-chat with Team YL, perhaps in the last week, just discussing what they all think is good, because this is a carbon copy of one of the drafts that Team YL has done before.
So far, definitely. I mean, also overall, ETC here, he's in a very, very interesting pickup, something that the Chinese teams have been presenting to the table. Power Slide is something that if you buff into it level 1 and level 4, is very powerful on smaller maps when you have good gank potential.
Yeah, the thing about ETC is that if you're dismounted already, you see him coming towards you and he's mounted, you know that you're going to get hit by Power Slide, knockback. Tyrande is going to be getting right in there. Lunar Flare, Hunter's Mark, and then you go down very quickly. But even down the line, Shadow Stalk plus Mosh Pit, we've seen that work out very well in some games and crash down and burn in some other.
Yeah, exactly.
Dignitas.
And it works out so well that you need something supremely good at defense. And we almost always see Tyrael being picked up here as a defense when Uther is not available. He has the only hard protection against area of effect abilities. So I could expect seeing Tyrael coming out here for Team Tempo Storm.
Johanna is going to be the next pickup here for Tempo Storm, and then they go into Zagara. So it looks like here, wanting vision of those kind of rotations is something that's very important.
And of course, Devouring Maul on ETC or on all the assassins going to follow up on the Mosh Pit. So, all right, they're going on a completely different tack.
It could be a great disengage and isolate as well. You know, we talked a little bit about how some Chinese teams, or pretty much all of them, the two that we have here, they play very aggressive. Even going back to, I guess, the Warcraft 3 days, Chinese teams have always been known to play very aggressive, and it really seems no different here. Braveheart and YL both love to fight a lot here. So again, here with that Dragon Shower pick and opening with the Tyrande and ETC, they're going to want to look to out-rotate their opponent and keep on killing them.
Ban out onto Rehgar, trying to limit their opponent's support capabilities here. But Tempo Storm, they have shown that they're happy to go for something like a Malfurion, and in game number 1, they did have success with it. So maybe they're trying to pigeonhole them into Malfurion.
I knew you were going to use that word.
Thank you always do. Man. I know
that to be honest, it's perfectly described here. When you have ETC and Tyrande at the front that are going to be able to isolate somebody and take him down very quickly, Rehgar would have been a great help with ancestral healing, and if he went for just healing talents in general, you know, healing surge and all that. So yeah, it could be a very good ban here from them.
So maybe they want a Nubarak here against the Force Malfurion, shutting down some of that tranquility. Kaeyoh is going to be the first one with more stuns. Stuns the name of the game so far. Kaeyoh, ETC, and Tyrande. We've got one more coming out here. It could be a Nubarak, it could be another support, it could be Tassadar.
And here we have
lots of options.
Kaeyoh, of course, one of the biggest damage dealers in the entire game with Flame Strike, and Living Bomb, importantly, is able to chain when you get it going. Even later on in the game, when you have like Arcane Barrier to keep yourself alive, it's a very, very powerful talent to keep going. But, you know, looking at how this is playing out here, this is overall a very interesting draft. I still think that maybe they were trying to push them down towards that Malfurion pick, but at the same time, they only have one pick left, and if they didn't pick up the healer with an Anu Barak, then they still would leave that open Tempo Storm. So I've kind of abandoned that thought for now.
Yeah, it's going to be a tier on this solo healer, do you think, no matter what?
Well, it looks like a copy, right, from Team YL.
Yeah.
And they have Tyrael as kind of a secondary support, Sanctification, Righteousness, that shield. Now up to Tempo Storm with the final 2 picks. Which healer, and are they going to take another warrior?
That's a good question. They do have quite a bit of options available to them. The healer, obviously, what is it going to be? It's going to be, well, they're going to start things with Zeratul. Wow, okay. An explosive pick coming up here for Tempo Storm.
And it has to be Malfurion, right? I mean, they've got Void Prison, Devouring Maw. You want to place an Entangle under that. You've got great healing. This can actually be Brightwing.
Wow, okay, so in essence, almost they could have been potentially taking it away from Braveheart here overall, and now this leaves Braveheart in a very odd position. I mean, with Zeratul there, I don't even mind a Tassadar as something to couple up. We've seen Tassadar Tyrande as a very, very strong duo support.
Pigeonholed into a flying support, that's what happened, man.
We actually saw this coming from them, didn't we? Against Team DK on Battlefield of Eternity, Zeratul and Brightwing there being used together, Dreadnaught and Zuna.
Oh,
you call it. Pigeonhole, all right.
It makes sense, right? Having mental acuity as the potential there against Zeratul, and also, as I said before, we have seen Tyrande as well as Tassadar acting almost as if a full support, but then still having themselves some damage to be able to mix in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mental acuity will definitely help greatly here in revealing where Zeratul is.
Yes.
Which might be Zuna, who's going to have to be careful here because he's going to be walking in a land where there's a lot of mines, even though there is no Zeratul, so to speak. That's a figure of speech. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much, Todd. We'll be checking with you again later on after game number 3 is concluded. But for now, it's time to get into game number 3 here between Tempo Storm and Braveheart. The winner moves on to the deciders match as we load up onto Dragonshire to figure out who is going to be victorious overall. It is game number 3 to the left-hand side. Tempo Storm with Arthelon going to be on Jaina. Dreadnought will be on Brightwing. Kaeyoh is going to be on Zagara. Soldiers on Johanna. And finally, Zuna is on Zeratul. And then to the right-hand side, we have Team Braveheart with Bao going to be starting things off on Kaeyoh. Exia will be on Tassadar. Gemini on Tyrande. Kaeyoh will be on ETC. And finally, M will be rounding things out on Tyrael.
And as everyone is taking their respective positions, we're going to see what strategy they have. We have a 3-man going for the top here, possibly converging all in one place, and the Frostbolt will reveal Braveheart's intentions. And on the other side, we have Oracle by Tassadar. By Exia, they're revealing Tempo Storm's ambitions. So no big party in the middle of the map yet as they clash. Zagar there at the top.
I'm going to be very keen to see what we actually have coming out for talents. Look at this. We actually have Celestial Attunement level 1 here for Tyrande. So reducing the amount of mana it costs here for her heal means that overall this duo support comp we have going on is a little bit more tailored towards a longer game.
Yeah, exactly. This is very, very rare. Very rare pick. Normally see the Hunter's Mark, reduction of cooldown by 60%. Now they're going on Kaeyoh there. That's the Lunar Flare.
Oh, that will be first blood going over to Braveheart. But at the same time, a return going down towards Kaeyoh. Ben is in a lot of trouble here. Soldiers trying to push forward, realizing that the support is coming out from Exia. But they get themselves to Tyrande. That's a 2-for-1 here, going over to Tempo Storm.
Showing off the power of Brightwing. There is Dreadnaught popping in there, and Zeratul from the shadows, and turning that into a 2 versus 1.
Very well done here by Tempo Storm. As much as you can get ganked here and there, if you're able to turn it around, get those good rotations going out, it can be all for naught for the opposite side, as they've already taken that little bit of an experienced lead. And this is still another aggressive move in here by Braveheart. On towards the Johanna, not the easiest pickup. Tries to go for the Lunar Flare, tries to go for a bit more damage. Not enough. Here comes Zuna with the return. Here comes extra big damage. Tyrande goes down, and that will be M also falling. Bow, great Virgin Sphere grab velocity to get. Tempo Storm 3-0. Why are they
Does Tempo Storm have everyone here? A 5-man versus a 3. Another gank gone wrong there by Braveheart.
True foresight, and I think overall you ask the question, why are they there? Because they're anticipating that top lane being very aggressive, because they knew it was a 1v3 situation for a little bit. The foresight from Tempo Storm there was very fantastic.
Yeah, very nicely played there by them. Prescience, even though they don't have Tassadar.
Exactly, exactly. Well, for now, this will be still Shrine against Shrine. One being controlled by Braveheart towards the bottom, and up towards the top, Kaeyoh and Tyrael going to be duking off against one another. Tyrael not a bad choice against Zagara in a 1v1 lane, but Zagara, she's the queen of the lanes for the most part.
Yeah, he's going to run out of mana very quickly if he wants to go toe-to-toe with her and trade blows. So definitely Zagara has the advantage there, which gives Tempo Storm the advantage that they can roam around as 4 more equally. We see Tyrael being pushed back a little bit already. Wants to go steal that Shrine prep, possibly.
Will be mental acuity coming out at level 4 here by Tassadar. So
Brightwing at the bottom lane being pursued. Able to get away. Dreadnought makes his getaway.
In mid lane, actually, Cyril actually blinking on towards Tassadar. And actually getting themselves a kill. A great pickup here once again by Tempo Storm. Maybe get themselves 6 for 1 at the moment.
Undoubtedly baiting out the dimensional shift there on the Tassadar on Exia, and then going with the final, the 11th hour kill there at the gate. Get another takedown. Now, Zagara capping the Dragon Knight. Oh! Just in time there we have, and they're on Tyrael taking the top.
That was, I mean, overall the level 4 talent coming out from Tyrande, very important to try and stop that, slow that down on a map where it is so crucial to stop that channeling here.
Yeah, going with Pierce, making sure that none of the Tempo Storm allies could potentially body block it, as it will pass through any enemy hero. We see Johanna with the triple W build going for the maximum amount of displacement towards the center of that condemnability. Dreadnaught there on Brightwing, once again going with this patented unstable anomaly. It does damage when someone pops out of polymorph, and that's really great lane clearing method to do.
And then it's another aggressive push on towards Penfold, and that's going to be a Brightwing going down. Good moves there. No, I mean, ETC as a pick, not only does it allow you to get those good stuns, but it also allows you the guaranteed body block almost on the other side, which is instrumental in those kind of kills.
Yes, exactly, Kalaris. ETC and Asbaran have some of the biggest, actually they have the biggest collision size in the game, along with a few other heroes, so they can body block really mightily fine.
And M here just trying to clean up towards the top. That being said, you know, as much as they got themselves that kill on the Brightwing, they still want to catch up a little bit. It's almost a full level heat here for Tempo Storm. No follow-up there, though, for ETC. A soldier is going to start running down. And we'll see that Lunar Flare being able to push him away.
I see Giants pushing up the bottom. We have some damage being put on Exia. Didn't shield himself out of that one.
Slow and steady at the moment. Aldrian's Smite goes forwards against Zagara.
Now that's the difference. He picked up the deep shift ability, extending his dimensional shift duration by 1.5 seconds. Oh, didn't manage to dodge the Lunar Flare, but he was doomed either way. But that's the difference there for Exia on the Tassadar. That's why he got away this time.
Looking for the counter, ETC. Brilliant save there by Braveheart to make sure they're going to get maybe the counter kill on towards Zuna. A lot of damage. Bomb's going to go off. Spar's still in there. And that was quite deep for him considering the positioning of Johanna as well as Jaina. He's going to go down. And Soldier here under quite a bit of threat as well. As the Lunar Flare tries to hit, Soldier jukes out. Very nicely done. He is able to escape. But at the same time, Zuna under some threat. And he will keep himself alive.
Oh, what an exciting game here as Tyrael and Zagara continue to vie for the presence on that top shrine. Zagara there pushing out Tyrael once again. And the lasers turn blue again.
Tyrael not having the easiest time in that top lane for sure, but there isn't many more members here of Braveheart that can really rival Zagara in that lane. So it guarantees you when you've got a 1-for-1, it looks like to be getting the channel. There goes the Phoenix. The Phoenix doesn't get it in time. The Phoenix doesn't deny. And that is a Dragon Knight going over at level 10 here. They're looking for some structural damage.
Void is being used there to keep Tassadar to stop him from denying that Dragon Knight. Shadowstalk and Phoenix were even used to try and secure the cancellation on it. And really, the Dragon Knight at this level isn't worth all too much here. He does need to be defended by more than one hero, which gives you sway in another lane, and that's really what they're looking for here. This top lane was taken out by Zagara previously. but we have a 3 Tempo Storm stack at the bottom, trying to take down some towers.
Zuna respecting Elder Rune's might up towards the top, doesn't want to stick around there for too long, just in case Tyrael had backup rotating around from him. Level 10's in, we have Bless Shield, Blink Heal more, we have Void Prism as well as Water Elemental on the side of Tempo.
Bottom lane, ETC, power slides past.
Okay, and then on the other side here for Braveheart, they actually went with
top lane.
And still trying to keep himself alive. They actually went with Archon here on Tassadar.
Yes.
Along with Moshpit, Sanctifications, Shadowstalk, and Phoenix. So the Archon is a cool choice here for them. Very interesting, especially against a warrior in Johanna that doesn't necessarily have an escape at the front.
Yes, exactly. Johanna's escape is not positional, but it's the fact that she doesn't get consumed by crowd control abilities. And Force Wall is the only one that affects her really well. Actually, Zombie Wall, Force Wall are some of the best ways to lock down a Johanna. So there was a potential, which shows that Exia really wants Archon. Not just a little bit, but a lot.
Oh yes, they want some big damage to be coming out from here. It's not the most amazing, again, with tweaks having happened in the last patch, but it still adds on that extra push power. And also, it adds on extra shield potential as well, as we're going to see Johanna here taking a lot of damage. Blast Shield goes out to try and slow all of this down, with the Iron Skin being popped as well. Brybon coming in for the assist. There's the Prism going down, with the Moore actually being able to catch one. And at the same time here, the shift out here from Tassadar. The Tyranda's going to fall here to Zuna. He was on the pursuit of the back all the while along. As they're trying to do the damage, the Moshpit has been able to knock 2 of them down. Dreaded a lot of problems, but Tassadar went down during all of this too. And now at the same time, ETC trying to follow. It's 4 for 1 here for Tempo Storm.
Dread managing to get away from the Moshpit using his Blink Heal. Very smart positioning there. A wonderful 1-2 punch combination by Tempo Storm as they use first the Zagara's Devouring Maul into a Void Prison to section off 2 heroes, then another 2, and completely disassembling Braveheart.
Crowd behind Tempo Storm at the moment. 1-4 falls down towards the bottom. Zuna looking for more blood, going over towards M, up towards the top. Can't really do too much against that. Even the Elder Rune's might very aggressive forwards. There's nobody extra coming to help. As it will be the Brightwing actually coming along for Zuna. In fact, that's the polymorph. That could be the kill. The kill towards Tyrael. Good moves here by Tempo Storm once again. 12 against 5 kills.
Excellent mana management by Zuna, waiting for exactly the right moment to use a Singularity Spike and Blink, managing to get the takedown on Tyrael, despite Shadowstalk being used there by Tyrande on Gemini.
Still, this hard camp going to push on for a little while. They keep seeing these owls being sent towards the top to just have as much vision as possible across the most lanes positions as they possibly can, trying to get a read as to where Tempo Storm is moving at the moment. But right now, they are very much so in the driving seat in this game.
ETC picking up the Face Melt, 80% slow, which disintegrates over time after using his W ability, Face Melt. Gonna provide some more crowd control.
Brightwing realizing she isn't a bit of threat, despite the fact that she was up there and can teleport away. There are still 4 bodies up there of Braveheart that would pose quite a threat if there was a chain stun to come along. Look at this Zuna waiting on the wings. If they go for an ETC kill here, that's very ambitious.
Yes. Yes, it is, especially considering the proximity of the other heroes of Braveheart. We've seen Tempo Storm do this before, pressuring towers. They are not a passive team when it comes to rotational strategies. Gemini with the Sentinel, saving himself potentially from disaster.
That's a catch on towards Zuna. He's going to get blown up there. Very far forwards. That is a death over towards Zuna.
Not a second of hesitation by Braveheart, but
maybe
it looks
they can
like
stall this.
Oh, it's already used. Sentinel's used. No one else is near, and we see continuing to occupy the top.
That's another Dragonite going over towards Tempo Storm here. As much as Zuna does fall, but they still want to keep it back just for a moment. Bring Zuna back into the game. Allow for a strong 40 seconds of this Dragonite as opposed to a weak potential 20, and then getting a lot of damage done to you.
Very well said, Kalaris. There's no need to just rush for the enemy's forward with that Dragonite. You want to have all your heroes in attendance. Dragonite is a decent hero in combat, but he's particularly good against siege targets. Now, that's starting to happen.
Especially with potential of level 16 hitting as well. They could really sync this up nicely. Level 16 talents are about to come in. And we will see this Dragonite push a little bit further forwards. Exia quite far towards this location. Thankfully, his shields will soak up quite a lot of that.
25 seconds of Dragonite left. We see Kaeyoh coming forward there on the ETC.
Is Brightwing going to join the club? I don't think so just yet. Still soaking some experience up towards the top here. Slowing things down, playing it out, feeling out where Braveheart are about to move. Are they going to be able to push anyone away? They're just trying to do as much damage towards the fort, but Arthelon doesn't want to go too much further forward. They were just prioritizing experience.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's what Tempo Storm is doing here. They're not going for the hardcore 16 versus 15 talent advantage fight. They just want to race to level 20. Why is he so far forward?
Teleporting him towards Zeratul here. He's looking for a void prism going up towards ETC. Great flash here. ETC is going to have the look for his second. Try to keep himself alive, also chasing on towards Kaeyoh at the back, not able to get themselves the kill. Level 16 towers came in during all this. Jaina goes down, and Exia trying to slow down Zeratul as much as possible. Dimensional shifts away, still looking for Zuna on the pursuit, trying to take Polymorph. Will Zuna be able to get away? I think he will. Yes, he will. He gets away.
The clutch plays by Dreadnaught there. Brightwing trying to keep everyone alive, just not managing to save Jaina, but such a wonderful job on Zuna, on Zagara, and it is actually a 1-for-1, which just blows my mind considering the epic plays we saw from both sides.
That was ridiculous. What a fight that goes down, and overall, still, yeah, just the 1-for-1, with even the potential of Zuna actually falling there.
That was crazy. They were very far in. Had that fight happened anywhere else, Tempo Storm would have aced it, but they were behind an enemy fort. It was a very ambitious play that worked out okay for both teams.
Not too bad, huh? For now, that's it. Trying to steal the easy camp here.
Oh, it's a 5-man team by Braveheart. Full mana, full life. Zuna is just half mana.
Difficult for them to try and wrestle that away from them, for sure.
Yeah.
Despite having a little bit of a stat advantage in the levels, Brightwing still up towards the top, getting that push going really, really hard with just a few little extra minions that they got consolidated along with it.
Now you see Zuna's playing a lot safer now. He's staying just inside the range of the experience of the bottom lane. Just inside, but not as far forward as he was before. Now, there we go. They see an initiation, they see a chance.
That was a great gravity lapse actually to try and catch him. Stasis has gone down, so the sanctification was there, but it was wasted during all of that Void Prism potential. Eld Runes might forward here. M trying to get on towards Zuna. Zuna's in a lot of trouble here at the moment. Blinks away. Has still a bomb on him. Drake trying to keep him healed up. Separates off, making sure those bombs are not going to go off on one another. Exia coming in from a flank here. This is ambitious. Still using the dimensional shift as aggressively there for a moment to get back to the rest of his team.
I mean, he was always going to be safe. He just tried to slow them down, right? Trying to maybe force an engagement as they still were pretty healthy, and they knew Dread on the Brightwing was pretty low.
Such impressive play by Braveheart during all of this series, and they're still going toe-to-toe with one of the very best teams here in Tempo Storm. As Tempo Storm looking to rotate on up towards the top there to get themselves that shrine, but they at least now have gained themselves a huge chunk of experience back with Braveheart in that fort going down towards the bottom.
Getting that forward now. Completely agree with Twitterverser, Matt Burry, Alan Holt first. Amazing, amazing games here so far, coming out from both teams. Level 18.5 by both teams. It is such a close game. Equal forts, perhaps the closest game between these two teams yet. And how fitting for a third place decider.
Oh yeah.
The loser is eliminated from BlizzCon, but the winner will face Team DK in a chance to make top 4 of BlizzCon and keep going.
And these Sentinels keep hitting pretty hard from all the way across the map. Arthelon taking quite a bit of damage there. And Brightwing isn't exactly the burstiest of healers either. So the more and more chip damage that goes on here from Braveheart, the more annoying it is going to be for Tempo Storm to ever find themselves the ideal fight when they're actually wanting to go in at full health.
A little bit of damage again there on Johanna. She has a lot of regeneration, so that's going to be fine.
Yep, she's not the one that you really want to hit with the owls. You want to hit other people, but, well, admittedly, with PSA, you can hit as many as you like.
All right, 19.3 versus 19.3. It becomes a very tactical game. You can see both teams are hesitant to engage here, as it is so risky. One hero death, and the other team will clinch level 20 before you. There's a lot riding on this match. And now Tresor will get the warning that Tempo Storm is closing in on him.
Ooh.
Will use that dimensional shift to fly away.
Backing on out there, obviously, and still Braveheart trying to control the middle section of the map now whilst having that bottom shrine, knowing that if any rotations come down, they can just back off towards that shrine or back off towards these bases. Tempo Storm, that's a great gravity lapse on towards Zuna to start things off. Another also push on forwards to try and blow him up. He blinks away. Dread taking some damage as well. Very, very low. That polymorph unit. Who is it? Oh! Prism to try and save him. So important. Down towards the bottom. Soldier taking a lot of damage on the board's head. Brightwing's going to end up falling. Braveheart at the moment. 1-for-0 trade, but they could have got a lot more during that.
Yes, exactly. It was wonderfully played by Dreadnaught, but it was just not enough as he had to pop left and right. Very smart play, but it's Braveheart who should be commended here for an excellent engagement, using the Shadow Stalk, making ETC invisible and getting the jump on Zuna, which in the end forced Brightwing to make those plays.
They got themselves the level 20 talents coming in as well. Double bolt there, they're taking the Dragon Knight as well. That's their first Dragon Knight here of this series game so far, and that is going to put on a lot of pressure. A level 20 Dragon Knight with their entire team up as well. They are going to try and make good use of this, Grubby.
Yeah, the crowd is packed here. We've got people standing where chairs are not available to see the epic conclusion of this third game of Braveheart versus Tempo Storm. And Brightwing is still down. It's a 5 versus 4, and they're pushing in with the Dragon Knight. And it looks like they might get a keep.
Yeah, looking for it at the moment. Zuna just blinking and using Wormhole, getting away, trying to get some chipping damage once again himself, trying to slow their opponents down for as long as possible with his Dragon Knight going down, using Shadow Stalk here to maybe even disengage, but at the same time now Brightwing is back, so click of a finger on towards Zuna, giving themselves a shield, gonna chase away Braveheart.
Well played there by Tempo Storm, successfully defending their keep. And now we've got very small objectives, very low value objectives actually, Siege Giants, nonetheless often providing a lure like that of a Siren. It's a dangerous place to fight over, very cramped quarters. You can see both teams are not very eager to steal the opponents under the conditions that have been presented to them.
And also now we see Rewind coming in for something like Brightwing. It's very, very important to have that available to you, especially against a team with an ETC and a Mosh Pit.
Wow.
Gives good freedom here to polymorph, and then if you feel the need to actually deny a Mosh Pit going down, then Rewind polymorph. So it's a bit of extra strong control here from Tempo Storm against this kind of composition.
Yeah, exactly. I see Johanna there going with the Indestructible, giving her a second life for a few seconds if she takes lethal damage.
Twilight Archon as well picked up here by the Tyrion. Whoa, that was a lot of damage coming out from that Sentinel there for a moment. Everything lined up as there was a bit of knockback going on. At the same time, the Exia taking a lot of damage to Zuna there, blinking in and getting his full rotation off on him. But Braveheart are putting on the pressure so well in this game.
Yeah, they've got 4 Siege Giants, and we're lacking long-range poke damage by Tempo Storm there. That's pretty much Zeratul, actually. Kaeyoh, he can throw a few spells. Only 1 Bailey reaches. 4 Giants pushing still.
Zeratul once again, a lot of damage. Soldiers in the thick of things at the moment. Deep. He is very, very deep. They could get the kill on him. That's Indestructible popping with the more being thrown down in desperation to make sure there wasn't going to be any follow-up. And at the same time now they've backed off. Looks like Storm Shield's able to soak all the damage there. Okay, so Ice Block at the same time. Brightwing ends up blowing up during all of this with the Holy Crown being able to pin him in. There is the Void Prison here trying to slow them down, but they've already got 2 for 0 at the moment. Zuna is scrambling. He is on the way out. Almost catches him on the way back there. As the Gemini trying to keep himself alive. Johanna looking a little locked down. Even that defensive Luna. Mosh Pit's being able to seal in Zagara. And Zagara's going to end up falling. It's a 3 for 0 here from Braveheart.
And now it's up to Soldier and Zuna on Zeratul and on Johanna there to try and defend. But that is so difficult. We've got all heroes alive. Braveheart is doing what seemed unexpected. They seem to be doing China proud. They're going on the core here.
Going down on towards the core here. Tempo Storm are going to have to scramble back here to try and store something out. 5 against 2. Can they do it? 18 seconds left on Brightwing, putting on pressure against Tresor, but I don't think it's going to be enough at all. Braveheart here are just rampaging on towards this core. They are going to be able to take it, and they move on to the deciders match. What a win for China to keep themselves alive here at the World Championship.
Unbelievable play by Braveheart, doing what was considered impossible, taking down the longtime favorite from North American region, Tempo Storm, and giving themselves a chance still to win BlizzCon 2015.
A brilliant set of games from them overall. What a showing from them to actually take out Tempo Storm here. And that shows the level of play that we actually have here at the World Championship. To see Tempo Storm of all teams going out in last place in this group with the top 8 here at the World Championship, it's quite the spectacle. Todd, game number 3, Braveheart once again yet to just keep impressing.
Absolutely. You know, already in the draft we talked about how it was going to be really difficult for Zeratul to deal with this Tyrande and Tassadar composition against him, you know, with all the detection that they provide and being able to zone him out. But there was a few instances in which he got caught, you know, at the bottom, ETC walked in, mounted up against the dismounted Zeratul, caught him. That was a snipe. And then later on, they meet in the middle of the map again. Zeratul gets caught. In the end, he escapes, but his support had to sacrifice himself in order to save Zeratul. And then comes the end of the game here. Let's check out our Windows 10 game DVR replay, and I'll show you that one moment where I think it all went south. So I'm going to put it right there. You can see Zuna just right there getting caught completely off guard. He didn't expect, I guess he was going to get stunned there, or he was in any danger. So he's going to be trying to make it out of there. And he barely makes it. Bomb is used on him, but what this causes is that basically Soldier on the Johanna thought that Zeratul was in so much danger that he had to engage. So what he did is he ran from here to here, found himself in the middle of all of these heroes here, and he took so much damage that really put Tempo Storm in trouble. Behind this Soldier, he tries to pull back. Maul was used very nicely, but already the momentum was really in Braveheart's favor. So behind this, they're going to be able to chase, and as soon as Jaina gets caught, she has to use Ice Block. Right Wing falls quickly behind this. Jaina dies. The VP is not impactful enough here to really change this fight here, and then Zuna gets chased down. Braveheart win the fight and the game with it at the most important moment, the crucial moment here.
Yeah, I think overall during that game as well, I've got to commend Bao on Braveheart for actually being able to catch Zuna so many times with gravity laps. It was almost the thorn in Zuna's side for a lot of times when those kinds of engagements were going on.
Yeah, I think that was the key play here. Bao there on the Kel'Thas. He also Bolt of the Storm in, and he catched Arthelon there on the Jaina. And the thing is, like, Arthelon and Zagara, like the Jaina and the Zagara, they were there, try and follow up on the Devouring Maul, which caught 2 people, but there was a Frostbolt that passed through the Devouring Maul before it came up.
Yeah.
And it just shows to me, more than anything, like, that is kind of like symbolic of, like, they don't have the feeling, you know? When you're playing like this, you're not thinking, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, Devouring Maul is out. It's like, it's 100% feeling.
Yeah.
So, like, just showing that he missed that one, he probably also didn't have cooldown on Blizzard and Cone of Cold. It just showed there was something like, it wasn't gelling anymore. And even as they were losing that team coordination a little bit, Braveheart was gaining more and more. Bao with the Kel'Thas, Bolt of the Storm in, using Gravity Laps on Jaina, who already used her Bolt of the Storm before.
Yeah.
And that, again, was what made Dreadnaught have to sacrifice himself.
I think what it boils down to a lot here, in that last fight, is that Zuna got caught previously in the game, and this time around, he got caught one more time, but he was going to be able to make it out. So if you look at his 10 points, he's like, I was fine, what did you guys go in?
Yeah, why are you so deep, right?
Yeah, but his team was probably like, oh God, here we go again. He's getting caught, we need to help him. So Soldier moves in, takes a lot of damage, and it really puts them in the bad spot from there here, Tempo Storm. They're trying to disengage, but then once Jaina dies, usually it's the beginning of the end. This late in the game with a 50 seconds timer, you can't really do much.
And also still, we had 2 Siege Giants available for both.
Yep.
You actually had Tempo Storm taking the Bruisers, yielding their own Siege Giants, while you actually had Braveheart take their own Siege Giants and then the one from Tempo Storm. And I thought they were really going to trade that one first and then go later to the Bruiser camp, but with Team Braveheart getting both, they were, with that aggression that Chinese teams show and that Braveheart has been showing, they were able to put a lot of pressure. 2 Siege Giants, not as much of a problem as 4. Also with Tyrael's protection, the shields constantly, and not enough poke damage for Tempo Storm.
It was a very interesting conclusion overall, with Braveheart showing that they're able to round things out with an aggressive stance all in all, just in true Chinese fashion. Let's check out the brackets to see exactly where we are so far in the tournament. And we can see here for Group A, we have confirmed our next match, which will be coming up right after this. It will be Team YL going up against Dignitas. So the rematch, I'm sure a lot of us are hyped for that one.
And the Chinese teams really showing up here today after having lost both of their opening match last week.
And then we go over to Group B here as we see Braveheart now going down into that lower position to make sure they're going to fight off against Team DK, who fell victim to Na'Vi during that opening week. So once again here, we're now finding our position and finding out who our semi-finalists are going to be. So China versus Korea, then we have obviously China going up against Europe once again. It's going to be some good games, Grubby.
Yeah, exactly, and I can't wait to see them. It's going to be oh so exciting. 2 teams that we haven't seen yet today, Team Na'Vi. Let's take actually a look at the schedule to see who are going to be facing each other now. Team YL versus Team Dignitas. That's going to be the first match that we're going to see following the break a little bit later. And then Braveheart versus Team DK is going to follow that one up to close out the day of these fantastic matches today here at BlizzCon.
Yeah, definitely. What a great start to the day. Not only two fantastic series, but definitely 2 more awesome ones to come because everything is on the line. Don't forget to check out BlizzCon.com for all the information, not only about Heroes of the Storm here, but also about all the other fantastic tournaments that are going on through the next 2 days. But for now, let's head over to Anna with the winners as we find out exactly what they think about them moving on to the next game.
Thank you, Kailaris. Guys, what an entertaining and close match. That was so fun to watch. Thank you, Bao. And we do have a few questions. Now, the commentators have been surmising that we're seeing a different team now than we did a week ago with Braveheart, because you have been practicing together now 1 week more of your very short time practicing together. So my question is this a different team than it was a week ago, or are we still seeing the same strength you always had?
他问今天的表现比1周之前有了非常大的这样一个变化，然后作为一个BHA 的队长来讲呢，你觉得你们的队伍是否就是做出了非常多的改变，相比1周之前？
因为一周之前的第一场比赛，其实我们打得比较仓促，因为 EDG 是打完国内的比赛才过来，所以我们根本没有磨合。但是我们这一周经常训练，所以打得会比上次好很多。
Okay, 1 week ago it was a rush game, so we have to spend lots of time to work together to practice. So since we got there, so there is a 1 week for us to work together. We have more teamwork, team play. So that's make the BHART that you say today. Yeah.
And it was very awesome to watch. Now next, you will go on to face Team DK. Do you feel confident against Team DK?
下一场你们将会和 DK 来自韩国的这支战队进行比赛，你会紧张吗？或者说你有信心战胜他们吗？
不会紧张，但是信心的话肯定是大家都想赢，所以说都是尽全力而战。对。
Of course we are nervous, but we are very confident that we will beat DK.
Well, that's good. And one more thing, our audience knows teams like Tempo Storm and North American teams a little bit better. And of course, Braveheart is brand new. It's a new team made up of 2 Chinese teams. Do you have any words to our fans so they can get to know you better? Anything you'd like to say to our audience at BlizzCon?
Okay. 我们知道BHA 的战队是一支由2个队伍的队员组成的这样一支战队，所以说对北美的观众来讲是一支全新的 team。那么你有什么话对现场的观众说，让大家更好的记住你、认识你？
我们是一支新组的战队，但是我们很努力，我们一定会打出更好的成绩。谢谢大家。
We're a new team. But we play hard, we work hard. We hope you guys will remember us through every game that we played. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and again, congratulations. Guys, we're going to be back with more Heroes of the Storm in just a moment, so stay tuned.